Hi, it's Ileana, and I'm here with David Powell, very professional remote viewer. And today we're doing part two for the whiteboard sessions, 5 sessions total. And we're gonna get started with the whiteboard. So, David, just kind of explain a little bit what you did for the whiteboard stuff, and then we're gonna bring up the data to go over.
Sure. Yeah. The whiteboard. um, when I go into when I'm on paper, I kind of have a kind of a mindset of like a collection mindset. I'm collecting as much data as I could pull out. When I get to whiteboard, I kind of pass the ball back to my subconscious and allow it to kind of lay things out in some kind of a way that I would understand it, or the audience or whoever is watching. So it's not just data point, data point, data point. If there is a story, hopefully some narrative could be pulled out of it. So that's my approach to whiteboard. And I did a couple passes on each one of the targets. So that's pretty much my approach to that.
Mm-hmm. And what would you say? Like, I think you did 5 passes total for the whiteboard.
It sounds right. Yeah, I know I did quite a few.
Yeah, exactly. So it was intense because in the whiteboard sessions, there were several, I guess, phases of it. So it turned out to be 100 and something pages of whiteboard for both targets. So I'm gonna bring up the targets on screen, share screen, and we're gonna see what what you went over and what the data points were. And whiteboard sessions were for targets M224-H424 and B0224-S0424. And the first thing we see is just a title page of sort of what the thematics were of this whiteboard session, data info, kind of like the beings that were there, humanoid and insectoid, and some planet stuff. So this is just kind of the title page representing that, just to explain what this is. And we're going into first phase, I guess. So can you explain what this was?
Yeah, this was like I'm getting I think this is my subconscious telling me maybe there's two planetary bodies involved in this. I mean, from what I'm gathering, this is a while ago, but that's kind of what that reminds me of. I was getting a sense of like two planetary bodies. I felt like that's what my subconscious was trying to tell me there.
Mm-hmm. And each whiteboard session has images and informational data that comes with it. So there in the sketch, there was like also a craft of some sort and soldiers and computers
Mhm.
and stuff. So that's just what I guess the sketching came through as a little bit. And here is the informational data points. Can you go over those, what you were getting?
Yeah, I kept getting a couple of structures, one non-surface structure, orbital descent. I kept feeling I remember like I'm remembering this now. I was like in orbit and I remember like this structure in orbit. It felt like it was descending into a planetary orbit. Moon-based structure. I kept getting stuff like this. Now I remember like moon-based structure, moon-lit structure, expansion, explosive energy particles, diverted energy, specialized frequency, frequent disruption. Okay, space satellite. Yeah, it's like I had a space satellite in orbit as well. Um, yeah, craft flying by the moon structure, soldiers watching event happening in space, information being recorded about the major space event, advanced computer hardware on the space satellite, trajectory points being met, and orbit sequence found.
And there's also something about designation, stabilization, activation.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are kind of like the data sets from that phase. And because I'm an intuitive, so I was just called to create this triangular logo with, I guess a craft flying through it, like a portal or something. I'm not sure why I did it, but it felt right. So this is kind of like the thematic logo I don't know why I did it. So just, and you said this felt familiar to you for some reason.
Yeah, just when I did, I mean, I had the emblem. I had a. It just reminded me of like, because when I had this leader, this something like I felt like part of the subtasking was like maybe what the symbolism might be, I think, or something, and it just kind of brought me back to kind of like this, kind of what you put here. I thought you did a great job, by the way, with all the renderings and stuff of my sketches and. But yeah,
Mhm.
but the symbol kind of felt that way. To me, because it reminded me of what I was seeing on that person's forehead.
Yeah, like it's just whatever came to my subconscious as a natural thing for a logo, that's what I did. It was just, it wasn't planned, it just what came through. And I guess when you were just checking all the data to make sure the documentation was all there, you said, oh, that's interesting and it looks familiar. So I just wanted to bring that up a little bit for what that is. And this is again, same target. And I guess what would this be?
Yeah, I mean, this is what I referred to in the session as the mothership, and I felt like it was like I don't know if it was being pulled. I mean, I felt like I don't know if this was a ship. There was a craft that had some issues that wasn't working right or something, but it felt to me like it was kind of getting pulled down into the gravity of the planet type of situation. I don't know if it was a controlled descent or if it was actually getting pulled. It almost felt like it was getting pulled, but that was my sense of it.
Mm-hmm. And again, there's a few versions of this, kind of like in different color schematics. It's the same thing, just I guess the sketch outlay, what this thing, the craft looks like, and it's again looks like it's descending somewhere exactly. And these are the data sets that came from it.
Yeah, these are some data points from the matrix. Excuse me, gravitic. And gravitic technology. I remember. Excuse me. Looking back now, that came in quite a bit.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, weird angled, strange angles on this. I remember like a convex trapezoidal. Just not your typical like kind of a saucer thing. I felt like there was extra angles, weirdness. Planetary. I got that sense of a planetary reconnaissance mission was kind of related to it. Gravitating towards the surface of the Earth or planetary body. Dynamic explosive event, weapons exchange, craft getting pulled into the gravity of the planet. That sounds right. Yeah. A gravity well event. That's kind of what it felt like to me. So I don't know if it was like shot down and it's just slowly getting pulled in, or if it's a controlled descent or something. But I just remember this huge craft descending down into this planetary body.
Yeah, and you said like huge and big craft and also a celestial event of some kind.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They're probably in here, but I had ships like coming out of this thing, and there was some wild things going on. But I'll start to remember as we go through it.
Yeah, and it's been like a month since we did part one of the
Yeah,
paper sessions. So this is
so
like,
strange. So when I go over sessions, Ileana, it's almost like you get pulled back into them. It's almost like you're like remote viewing them again. It's just what it reminds me of. Just it's like you're touching base again. But yeah,
mhm.
okay. So here, um, I had this like rocky terrain. I had this uh craft, but I also had like I think electrical surges and stuff. So when I was doing this sketch, a couple things like a lot of things are happening one time. I'm getting a lot of impressions at the same time, so it's hard to separate them. But I'm getting the rocky terrain. I'm getting like electrical surges. I'm getting this in this craft. That's kind of what I got out of that.
Mm-hmm. And there's also like in the sketch something about a soldier with a weapon, or I guess looking on to this event, maybe.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. There was session parts of the whiteboard where it's like I had a guy looking down, maybe looking through something or down the barrel of a gun or something, and then when I went to flip it, the image so to see what he was looking at, that's kind of like what I recall, something like that.
Mm-hmm. And again, we had kind of like the data sets from this.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay. So stealth technology. I remember getting impressions like no discernible features, which was funny to me because I'm thinking, well, what could have, it must be invisible. It has no discernible features. I mean, but it was interesting. So yeah, stealth technology, your soldiers watching from distance, electrical surges, descending, wave signature, pulsing electrical energy, cold fusion, devastation. Yeah, crackling waveform, electrical pulses, energy coming off the craft. Something is problematic with the craft structure. I was getting a sense of diffuse energy coming off of it or something.
Mm-hmm. And again, the rocky terrain was there, so it just feels maybe like this thing either was doing something, maybe it was crashing, maybe it was, and somebody was watching this event happening
Mhm.
from a
Yeah, I mean
distance.
that's what I was kind of like, is this thing crashing or is it just parking type of thing? I couldn't figure that out necessarily. Because the problematic aspect of the craft could just be a like a auxiliary aspect of what might have been happening. I'm not sure, but regardless, yeah, it seems like it kind of planted itself right in this spot in the what I thought was interesting was it was just the way it was kind of placed into the ground. It was just like so stealthy. It was like it just was like meant for this thing to sit right there.
Maybe it was
But yeah,
parking itself.
yeah. I mean, it could be.
Mm-hmm. And I guess this is the continuation of that.
Mm-hmm. And in some parts of me to believe that it may be because I had impressions like because you get phonetic or you could hear when you get deep enough you could hear people talking, you're getting like a clairaudience experience, and I was hearing people like say like, okay, go ahead and dock, docking procedures, and I was hearing like what was really interesting though too, and it ties in with this was like it was like a technology was being employed. Go ahead and implement the stealth where it's like it could be blend in with the environment where it's like you wouldn't even know it was there.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of my sense of it.
Yeah, and again, I guess maybe somebody watching this happening or giving orders or something.
Yeah.
Because like just eyes on this technology. There's like eyes watching this stuff going on. And kind of like a lot here.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to prompt myself to move to the best spot, like the hot spot of the target, so I can get to get a good image of what's happening, or a good perspective. So I'm getting this feels tactical. Someone watching from afar. What happens to advanced technology experiments? Yeah, I had a AOL of the Cabal or a Cabal. Rounded object around the pyramid craft. Um, so yeah, I often had that too. It was like an orbital craft zipping around this thing, watching this, working with this autonomous parameters. Like that thing almost felt almost autonomous or something. I don't know, but baseline frequency. I kept getting a sense of like a frequency, fragmented technology, geological aspect of this situation. And again, to me, that feels like it's some relation to maybe this craft in the planetary body. I'm not sure. Funneling gravity waves. There's times I felt like there was something maybe happening around this object, maybe anomalous things, but funneling gravity waves, problematic weapon systems failure, docking procedures, AOL. Okay, so the pyramid craft is descending down into an opening. Imagine like there is a hole in the earth. It's like exactly the shape of the pyramid craft, and it fits in like a piece, like a puzzle piece. Okay, I got a sense of an electrical grid, interference, capabilities. The craft sits under the ground docking station is able to somehow tie into the electrical grid of the surface. The pyramid craft is cycling energy and does transfer. So to me, just going by what I felt at the time, just being honest, it almost felt like there was something in place in the land that this thing was connecting to.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very interesting data sets. And again, we have the craft theme going on.
Yeah.
another craft, or maybe it's the same craft, and it's kind of like pulsing
Yeah,
something.
yeah. To me, that's what that kind of. It was almost as if it's in a spot and it's emanating something above out of it or something.
Mm-hmm. And the data sets for this were interesting.
Yeah, distortion, geomagnetic interference, hot magma volcano. That was my AOL. Yeah, it's like I had fire or something was around me. I felt like heat, but mothership, high concentration of radioactive properties. Secrecy seen from space. So yeah, something about this event or related to this felt like it was could be seen from space or something. Um, I got a guidance system, geostorms, gravity dispersal phenomena happening with the craft on the base surface. Um, Expulsion energy, smaller objects flying around trying to fix the mothership craft. So, this is just my AOL of this, but it kind of reminds me of like almost like, and again, this is my AOL. This is my big shell with this. It reminds me of like almost like a Skinwalker thing where there's weird stuff happening on the surface as it relates to this thing because it's doing something or malfunctioning. That's kind of what it reminded me of. But that's what I got there.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, this just reminds me of like I feel like I'm looking down on maybe an object within this rocky surface. That's what I feel like that's like a rocky area and there's something in there.
Mm-hmm. I guess it was energetically doing something because there's like pulsing
Yeah, yeah,
energy.
yeah. I was getting this. Yeah, pulsing energy. Basically, best description of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, autonomous engagement, automaton documenting something moving out of a larger structure. Frequent power surges, like that's what I felt like it was like surging energy or power. Regulation around this artifact. Um, I got like a special forces type of unit. A reasonable explanation for a phenomena. Um, so again, it goes back to that. Kind of reminds me of maybe a phenomena, maybe related to what this thing is doing, and geologically sound and secure.
Mm-hmm. So like this thing is obviously doing like there to do something, and it's maybe reconning something, and it's pulsing some energy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because this was another thing. Like it's almost like I had it sitting in like like the ground or something, and it was almost like it's just the top is just peeking out. You know what I mean, type of thing. And then like 90% of it was submerged.
Mm-hmm. And again, just like somebody is watching these things, somebody is operating something. It's like an operational procedure of some sort. Like there's a purpose behind this stuff, I get. Just to me, like just from the image, something with a purpose.
Oh, for
Something,
sure, for sure.
yeah. Like this is very much coordinated somehow.
Yeah, megahertz radio wave energy being heard, visuals of craft descending. Craft is of a pyramid shape. The craft is sitting there waiting to be unearthed. AOL Machu Picchu. A craft is having problems and it is descending into the earth and it fits into the ground perfectly, but there is a small portion that is peeking out from the ground. I got this idea of a planetary excavation, highlighted area on the map. So yeah, to me that was like I was referring to something as it pertains to a land area or something, maybe probably something to do with feedback or whatever. Distorting gravity, space time, visual of craft descending into the planet, frequent distortions. The craft, oh yeah, the craft. I remember I put that in there. The craft purposely came to the spot, so it was purposeful.
Hmm.
Them landing in this specific. It's not like it was a big crash and or whatever, but They were trying to get there. Okay, so someone is watching the excavation of ancient advanced artifacts and craft technologies being recovered.
Yeah, it's like it's purposeful. It has this has a point to it, a serious point. Just when I saw the image, I'm like, okay, that's very serious. Some kind of operations are going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, so I had a UFO, but then I had this structure that just reminded me of like a submarine or something. Um, yeah, so I don't know what necessarily is happening there, but yeah, a couple structures, UFO maybe above.
It looks like it. And just this structure that's in the water or maybe in space, it just to me it also looks like a submarine, but very unusual submarine because it has these rectangle.
Trapezoidal, weird. Yeah,
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 rectangles.
yeah. It's definitely not a
Not your,
atypical submarine, if that's goes.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And
yeah.
I guess the sketches of it came through in several colors too, just a frequency, a lot of energy off of both things coming off. And just again, it was so interesting. Just several sketches came out. And then just kind of like this came through.
Hmm.
Um, maybe this
Yeah, and
is,
I told you. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I'm not sure. Like it just was interesting to me what that could be.
Yeah, because I did a clay model, which is coming up, but it's very similar to this rendering right here is what I got out of my clay model. But yeah, because I have submarine and UFO craft. I forgot all about this actually. In close vicinity to each other. I can't believe I put this in here. Okay, so submarine has various shape of rectangular and triangular structural features, experimental technology. UFO craft emitting pulsing energies, scanning environment for something, polarized energies coming from two different objects, rocket or missile launched, testing range, secure military sites, training scenarios, field testing newly built advanced technologies before sending out into open mission settings.
Yeah, so it's like it's very interesting reading this of what you were picking up. To me, it's like makes me wonder what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a regular, like to me it was almost like just like a space opera. It was just crazy. I mean, some of this stuff, I mean, um well, again, there's two different targets here, so I don't know. I'm sure they correlate, but because one I remember felt more of a broad kind of picture things, and one felt kind of really more specific. Um, but
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. But this, yeah, that did seem striking to me. That because to me the whole thing was almost like if you, it's almost like that. It's almost like if you like a pyramid, if you've slapped a pyramid on top of a spaceship and put it in the earth, you'd never know it was there type of thing. You know what I mean? If it
Yeah.
parked it. Like that kind of weird vibe.
Yeah, exactly. And these were more of like this is the next part where you did the clay modeling and you did the paper session. And then kind
Mm-hmm.
of you did with the whiteboard stuff. So can you describe what this is?
Yeah, to me it reminds me of like, so I've got like I don't know if it's trying to show me like a UFO going into another UFO, but I feel like that was kind of kind of what my subconscious was trying to tell me on some level. It's like this is within this type of thing. So that's what I got there. Like to me, that's like a giant ship with a smaller ship maybe within it,
Mm-hmm.
or structure. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
A non-surface probably structure. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has the shape of a UFO. Um, so yeah.
And then we have, I guess, the UFO inside something, or
Yeah, looks like
look.
it. I kept getting, it's almost like I don't know what it's doing there, but something coming out of the bottom of it. But yeah.
Mhm. I guess maybe it's in a facility of some kind or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it could be. It almost reminds reminds you of like it's almost like it's looking at stuff or something. You know what I mean? It's almost like it's analyzing something or looking at old structures or something.
Yeah, or going into a facility of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
Because the facility stuff kept coming up over and over again. There's like other surface structures here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this is just an up close visual of the UFO craft. And I guess this was like inside somewhere. It parked somewhere, I'm not sure. So I guess within a facility or going inside or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. It's
Yeah.
just that craft, that smaller craft version just kept going in somewhere inside something.
Mm-hmm.
And these are the data sets for it.
Yeah, hangar decks and large structure, weapon system testing, anti-gravity craft being built in space, um, energy outputs and waveform fields, frequency energy of blue, gray, orange, red, silver, weapon systems engaged. Like that to me almost felt like I don't know, but like a maybe engaged weapons. I don't know. Warm humming, electrical pulses, advanced anti-gravity spacecraft being found in Sirius B. Yeah, because Sirius B came up a lot.
Mhm.
And then I did some digging into that.
Yeah, so I guess this is some portion of that is related to this, whatever this is. Like perhaps these UFOs are docking in hangar decks and large structures for whatever reason. Because
Mm-hmm.
hangar decks came up twice as well, so that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is your clay model.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it had some symbols when you said you did a clay model. I'm like, what do you have? Can you show me? And you did. And I said, it feels to me like it's connected to Sirius B somehow. It just felt when I saw this, it felt like that to me. Just an impression. And again, just this sketches of that. And this is the clay model to have a closer look at it. So we can see the exactly like ancient craft symbols, ancient technology or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, and it wasn't. I remember, like, I was doing the clay model. Like, I wanted to make it a little more oblong. Like, it wasn't your classical, like, saucer type. And I just went with my kinesthetics on that because it was more. It was more like like what the rendering really.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminded me of.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And
yeah,
here's,
craft assembled. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, that's the data sets.
Yeah, ancient advanced spacecraft being recovered Sirius B, symbols etched on the Sirius B spacecraft, silver and blue field of energy, craft assembled in space, spacecraft is first of its kind, space hangar, highly classified document felt associated to this or something. Okay, so then you got notes here. A model of of ancient Sirius B craft was made of sculpted clay by remote viewer David Powell. Me. Diagram schematic was made of what Sirius B system looks like with the clay model craft with the ancient symbols flying in formation to represent how the scene of the remote viewing looks in visual graphics.
Yeah, so what I did when you sent me the clay model and we talked that it has to do with Sirius B, so I kind of like, I guess, did sketching and just to give it a visual of what this thing can look like in space, I guess. And I described this in the notes, like your original clay model, and just I guess if it's recovered from Sirius B, that's what it says. So I just put it in Sirius B, just to give a understanding of a setting.
Mhm. Just
And
so everybody knows, like I don't know anything about Sirius B. I still to this day I haven't looked it up or anything. I don't know if it's a star, a planet, or this, that, and the other. I don't know anything about it.
it's a star system. It's a large star
Okay.
system because there's Sirius A, Sirius B, and Sirius C. So
Okay.
it's a star system, yes. And then we have other interesting things going on.
Yeah, I was just trying to get a sense of like the ship. What was I had this rounded bridge kind of system. I had like, I felt like this thing, um, excuse me, could open up and it was like an armada could just fly right out of there. Uh, that's kind of what it felt like to me.
Mm-hmm. And you drew, I guess, the bridge inside of it.
Yeah, it's almost like I had somebody monitoring or something in there. Kind of like sitting at their desk, kind of just monitoring.
Mm-hmm. And several people, I guess, like 3 people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, so I got a hangar, metal framing, sounds of a catwalk. So like you hear that boots on a catwalk type of sound. Uh, Chambers, drop down infantry. This is the bigger ship. Problematic wave. So there must be multiple ships. I'm getting this is the bigger ship of the two. Okay. Problematic wave disruptor mission. Gravity. Problematic wave disruptor mission. Okay. Gravity wave displacement. Charged particle. So I'm trying to inventory the ship. I'm trying to get a sense of what this thing's got, what it's packing. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting a charged particle array. Something is going down. Like I kept getting a sense of descending. I got a sense of a shadow government, weapons access programs, a division of elites, super soldiers, um, curved architecture, monitoring station, people watching view screens. And I got channel visitation. I don't know what that was about, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Like, I mean, channel, best I can, like, I know channeling what channeling is.
It's
So,
probably an SAOL or signal. Probably, uh, it relates to a visitation or something is probably what it's telling me.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think this reminds me of maybe the space satellite. Like like an orbiting satellite like we have in our space type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a space station, something, something like that. Well, yeah, yeah. Go
I,
ahead.
and I think it had something special in there inside in one portion of it.
Well, I see. I don't know if this is part of this or not, but this is when I was starting to pick up on bodies in the containers. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. And there's like a human face. Like, I'm just seeing like a woman or something. I don't know. To me, it
yeah,
seems like a woman's face. Like there's people inside there.
yeah.
And just, I guess, a bigger version of this sketch so people can see. Just something's going on there.
Yeah, so I call them life pods. Men in uniform, anomaly, summary, a battered equipment, a hidden arsenal. I got a sense of a precursor to an event, a space satellite, and a moonlit structure. Surveillance technique is being employed here. I don't know if the satellite, I don't know if something off the satellite's looking at something on the moon, or I don't know. But surveillance technique is being employed here. Weapons frequency, a response system, and I got a sense of hijacked. And I don't know what exactly that was about, but there was definitely some action in one of the targets between the insectoids and the humanoids. But collaborative infrastructure, mining materials, and space weapons.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, and again, there's the life pods, men in uniform. So it looks like this satellite is manned by people, or people are on
Yeah,
there in stasis.
Yeah, that's
perhaps.
exact. I mean, that's the exact vibe I got. I mean, I probed into them; they were alive. They were kind of like in like stasis, sleeping, whatever. They're alive, but they're in these, they're in a machine keeping them alive, kind of thing, or in
Hmm.
stasis, like you said. Yeah. Yeah, so I kept getting, I don't know what like that pyramid thing, it just really wants to, like, my subconscious is really trying to beat this into my head. Um, I don't know necessarily why, but obviously you have like this UFO and it's like he's over a pyramid or he's projecting, something to that effect.
Hmm. I guess some of these sketches are sort of showing an up close version of that, of a UFO over a pyramid or beside a pyramid. This, just so it's like pyramids seem to be a thematic theme in this data
Mm-hmm.
set. And I guess UFO and the pyramid, and maybe UFO coming in and out of something near these pyramids,
Mm-hmm.
near the pyramids. So, and again, closer version of what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And just
Yeah, I
these,
mean, this reminds me of one of the sketches that I did so much because the whole time, like, to me, it's almost like it's like I've got this ship that's like playing with a pyramid under its hat type of thing. Like, that's what it reminded me of. Almost as like a huge spacecraft playing off as like an old pyramid. You know what I mean? Like that kind of a vibe. But go on. Go ahead.
mhm,
Yeah, an entrance to an underground mining facility. It's an AOL, but a tribal warfare, pyramid technology, an underground space pyramid. A pyramid is ascending. A geographical marvel. Governmental assets, primary personnel, and divided forces or division of forces.
mhm. So these, maybe these pyramids are some kind of, has something to do with mining, underground space pyramid stuff. Maybe not even on Earth, somewhere else,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, it's very possible. It was weird. It's very, very strange. So strange. So yeah, here we go into the prisoner situation with these insectoids. Obviously, to me, it almost like I think I mentioned before, like a prisoner exchange almost. But they got these ETs in cages and something to that effect.
Hmm.
Yes, I've got a bulky protective gear for personnel. So I remember seeing like, I got like a visual of like you know, but it could be many different things. It could be a spacesuit. It could be you know, I don't know, but it could be like a biohazard suit, but something big and bulky like that. Um, Advanced human hybrid. I got a revolt situation. Planetary excavation again. Spatial anomaly. Okay, so a precursor. Spatial anomaly precursor. A slave colony out of the earth. That was my AOL, but maybe that's probably not an AOL. I'm not sure. A bipartisan relationship. I got a sense of a heroic moment or a retaliation situation. An invitation to destroy someone.
Yeah, so seems like stuff is going on and people are wanting to do something or, be free, something like that.
Yeah, I mean it's I just say that I had two basic species that I felt like I was dealing with, which is human and insectoid primarily. There may have been other species scattered around in that group, but that felt like the primary engagement was like an insectoid type and a humanoid, and they didn't feel like they're getting along, or they're not, they didn't. They were opposing factions. It felt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I've got this craft, looks like it's landing or something, but I've got these arrows here. My subconscious is telling me something there. I'm not sure what, but it's indicating something, pointing to the bottom of the craft or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, I got invading territory, space weapons design and enforcement. I got a primary assessment, a space launch, a retreat, instigation, a standoff situation, diverting energy to integrate with the land feature. That's what I was talking about earlier. It's like I heard that, like divert energy to integrate, charging weapons. Like I'm probably hearing this, rebooting the system, stuff like that.
Yeah, so maybe the arrows are like diverting energy to integrate with the land feature or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably, I mean, it's indicating something to me about that. I'm not sure what, but yeah, could very well be.
Mm-hmm. Interesting dynamics.
Okay, so this is when I was trying to get a closer look. This is all very strange to me. I'm just gonna be very honest. So I'm really looking forward to what this is all about. But so I'm trying to get a closer look at some of these things. So I'm getting like this idea of a spiritual leader. Um, I feel like he's laying down or in one of these pods or something. Um, yeah, and then I've got this insectoid in the background. When I draw these mandibles, that's usually an indication of an insectoid for me. Um, so yeah, but I got a spiritual leader of some kind associated with that.
Yep, and there's another person in the background in a pod or something.
Yes, yes, there is.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have a closer look at what that is. And I guess that's the spiritual leader and maybe another person associated with that. And this is the other individual that's in the background in the second pod or something.
Yeah, the high priestess I
Uh-huh.
referred to her.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so this individual feels like a spiritual leader of some kind that is staying inside the stasis unit. Um, Emblem or spiritual leader's head, pyramid shaped, um, probing into the significance or spiritual leader. The spiritual leader is like a mediator brought in to reach a consensus. This individual is trying to broker peace between several opposing factions that need unification to work out world affairs. Has a dual identity to be able to represent people from various walks of life. Individuals kept in seclusion to protect their privacy and not have them be interfered with by any of the opposing factions as negotiations go forward for brokering various deals and treaties. Yeah, High Priestess in a vacuum chamber. Okay. Probing into the significance of a truth seeker who is looking to uncover the hidden secrets of unspoken realities taking place and the meaning behind the unlawful events happening behind closed doors, which are the wrongdoings between dark factions and the controllers of humanity. Reveal the truth, seek justice, no more keeping secrets that are leveraged with mind control, memory erasures, and behavioral modifications processes done through using of off-world technology. Meaning, this is your probing, right? These here.
Yeah, I think it is a little bit just like, who are these people? What are they doing?
Yeah, yeah. Holographic interfaces. This male-female experience is a virtual event. Yeah, that I mean this. Okay, hypersleep situation. Yeah, exchange of bodies, master slave situation is happening here. I get that so much. You know that the master. I mean, like not just this target, but like when I do esoteric targets, like that verbiage comes up a lot. more than I'd like to see.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so robotics and robotic behavior, violence happening, surveillance measures taking place here, reconnaissance orders, order to evade the premises, something to do with a treaty or pact, a destabilization of humankind.
What was interesting, robots and robotic behavior came up. So it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
is the spiritual leader and this high priestess individual, like, were they brought in to sort of bring peace to all of this and to reconcile
Mediate. Yeah.
factions of some sort that are, it's just, I felt like these two beings, people, the spiritual leader felt male, the high priestess felt female, like
Mhm.
probing what these people are doing, just like what is the purpose of them?
What was weird to me is, I'm pulling information, and then which I'm getting all this space opera stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, whoa, what's this? Like, to me, it almost like doesn't fit in the picture. Like, what's how, because I'm getting all this spacey stuff, and all of a sudden I got this spiritual leader. Like, what's going on here? But I, not knowing the feedback yet, it's not really supposed to make sense. But um, yeah, I don't know. It's just strange. It's all very strange.
Yeah, and I only did probing of what these two individuals are and what they're doing, sort of just like just to get a sense of, because I also do remote viewings. It's like I tapped the spiritual leader, I tapped the high priestess, and that's what came in as information about them. So I put it as a probing. But this is like kind of going off of your data sets, like those are your data sets of what you got from that target phase.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think like when we look at the feedback, it will make sense what that is.
Yeah, I was trying to get a sense like what else here is worth kind of looking at. Um, and I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. Just some structures, like something coming, like some kind of indication of something in the air, possibly, and then some structures on the surface or subsurface.
Hmm. You mentioned something to do with a submarine. So we're gonna,
Yeah, yeah,
again, like somebody's watching all of this and people are doing stuff. Kind of, it was interesting. So that's kind of the renders of the submarine, I guess.
hmm, yeah. So I'm getting a sense of avoiding detection, and just like going back from memory, like first class. That can now to me that came in kind of in a way of it could mean a couple different things. It could be like first class soldier, or maybe the craft itself is of like a first class type of thing, but or the division that the unit was a first class division. But yeah, AOL submarine. It's a problematic situation. Got a sense of first time offenders defending their kind. I kept getting like a defensive posture. Um, Probationary, like we will let you get away with it this time. Evacuation of the Earth's sphere, extricate someone or something, avoiding detection. Tectonic cycle, volatile situation, massive evacuation, a wasteland evacuate. Okay, so two, yeah, so that's another thing too, is I felt like there is some planetary body with an issue, like a, if I'm remembering correctly, like a core issue or something. And like it was like an Exodus event possibly or something. Uh, but that's drawn from memory. But yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. To me, I don't know. I think I AOL a satellite or something like a satellite dish or something in this. But
Hmm.
it could be the the something damaged or something. But I'm not sure. But yeah, there's a few life forms down there. Um, Maybe a couple ETs. Okay, so I have a suspicion of a planet under observation. Disturbing anomalies. I AOL'd CERN. Dish-shaped object. I get an idea of a space network. Isolation. Dystopia. Celestial event taking place here. Concern above the core of the planet. Concern about the core of the planet. Evidence of a previous mining excavation. I have like a hollowed out core. Coded messages between factions and restabilizing the planet, like restabilizing the core.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. Like something going on with planetary cores.
Yeah, I was thinking. I remember thinking to myself, like, I hope this ain't Earth. Like I don't think this is a good situation. Whatever, like, um, it's all because that's kind of what it just reminded me of. Like, there's like a something going on with the core of the planetary body that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this to me just reminds me of like multiple structures, multiple UFOs zipping around or something like that. That's what I would get out of that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, to me it looks like ancient structures too, like
Yeah, primitive, in the back or whatever.
mm-hmm.
But I could tell that there's like stuff, like I could just tell that there's like a connection, like it's almost like something's being projected out of something, um, maybe scanning something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so shepherding a mining operation. Spin and access. Volatile, rendered inoperable. An ancestral divide. Um, that was an interesting one, like a divide between ancestors, maybe. Space mission. Accountability related to this. Variants. Clones. Limited access to the planet. I got the Milky Way star cluster. Can you convert it to nuclear? That was my AOL, I guess. Collision in space, infrared sequence, a cosmic event, spatial anomaly, vortex, responsible for the collision. Um, People moving around, event being watched and recorded. Okay, this is I'm just okay. Tapping elements is what you got. Okay, ancient history almost repeating itself again, trying to change current events in time to prevent past mistakes from overtaking experimental projects, working to avoid cosmic failures from looping themselves in present time. Don't go too far with the secret experiments before it's too late. Too much experimentation trying to tap resources too close to the Earth core. Remnants of Atlantean technology being experimented with. Anti-gravity technology, electromagnetic crafts, energy frequency weapons, drilling lasers, pulse beam converters, reaching center core of planetary ecosystems. Atlantis, AOL. Yeah, I mean, yeah,
It's like
like I said,
resources being diverted or something.
yeah,
I don't know. It's just like seemed like history's almost repeating itself or something like that.
yeah,
Just a lot going on with ancient stuff and modern stuff and kind of because Atlantis, remnants of Atlantis came up in the paper section as well with the insectoids.
yeah. I had like like ancient fractured technology or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think I did it. Yeah, that's this target. It's like there's an artifact. There's a ship sitting somewhere waiting to be Earth or something, a gigantic structure. I had that vibe at some point.
Mm-hmm. So it's like a lot of some of this could be related to Atlantis, maybe. Who knows? It's interesting.
Yeah, to this just reminded me of like a small ship sitting there or something.
I guess looks like a sphere, small ship in a
Mhm.
sphere of some kind, and
Yeah.
People doing something.
Yeah.
It looks like another craft or some kind of a crash site retrieval. It just looks like that to me.
That's what I would take it as, to be honest with you. Like, that to me is an image of like a beat up craft and a few, personnel. I mean, that kind of.
Yeah. And just also like a sense of trains and stuff being packed up and moved. Like things being quickly packed up and removed. Just that came up as well. I'm not sure.
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely had a sense of like a transit, like they were. I don't know if I had a bridge system or something, but okay. So high concentration of energy in the atmosphere, a probe. Okay, so people creeping around an object, violation of a space treaty, a divided territory. People are not supposed to be here, but they had no choice. Orders to correct this, escape the situation, rescue parameters, platform stations, loading cargo, trains loading with artifact items, immediate transport, flights being changed, different people doing research and development.
It's interesting. It sounds like a retrieval of some sort of craft artifacts, something like that.
Yeah.
They quickly pack it up, quickly remove it so nobody finds it, nobody sees it, and we get to
Hmm.
study this and figure it out somewhere else in a
Yeah.
secure location, I guess.
I don't know where I put that, but that's somewhere in here. I think I did make mention of like this move to like an underground location or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So again, yeah, this just reminds me of a UFO sitting in the ground or a craft sitting in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Abandoned area, mountainous region. I got an underground complex, hidden craft underground. I have an asteroid impact crater AOL. I mean, this probably has something to do with the actual craft. Um, Congress political action and response. Um, oh gosh, I do so many targets I can't remember anymore. Is this the one where I had like Congress meeting in secret or something over this? Was that this target?
Yes, that's the first
Okay.
paper session stuff that came
Okay.
up because they were debating various UFO stuff and retrievals and passing new laws about this.
Oh
Secret
yeah,
laws
yeah.
being passed
That's right. That's right.
without anybody knowing behind closed doors and reviewing these events of these crash sites and this technology.
Hmm.
That was in the paper session. So I guess this is related to that, like having a closer look in the whiteboard on this.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, that's that satellite. Um, that's that space satellite.
Mm-hmm. And like two bodies of something planetary or
To me, I don't know how this fits in. I don't know if it's like this satellite's getting information from another planetary body and relaying it back type of thing, or what it is. But I did have it in there. I know it was part of it felt like it was part of the target.
mm-hmm.
Um, an orbiting space satellite can see a large object from space. Lunar orbit, moon related, can be Earth related. Lunar landing site, uh, ex- exponential mapping photography, space race, espionage camouflage technique being utilized here. Oh yeah, yeah, because I did go into the moon a little bit too here. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's like obviously doing reconnaissance on something and watching and mapping and looking and
Hmm.
monitoring. So it's back to the space stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And again, this to me is a wrecked craft, part of that operation of packing it up and getting rid of it.
Mm-hmm. Because there's like, looks like soldiers in camo and green.
Military personnel. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, soldiers are here. Green uniforms, military confinement. One of the soldiers is saying, "Stop! You can't go any further." Uh, a landing site or crash site at the height of the Cold War. Some type of spherical object or craft crashed in the background. Mountains in the background, gaseous emissions. Using caution here. Spherical object broken up a bit in the atmosphere. Military operation taking place in this rocky area. A lunar base with a connection to the moon.
Sounds like a lot going on.
Tons.
It's like stuff happening with recovering craft, stuff connected to the moon, military operation. It's like crash sites, Cold War. Interesting. What would be your view of this? What is this?
Well, this, well, I mean, just but from the data sets, I mean, if I took it for what it is, it reminds me of the, I mean, I would have to say it would be related to a downed craft, um, back some time ago, at least this aspect of it, at the height of the Cold War, sometime around then.
Mhm.
Um, but lunar base with a connection to the moon, I don't know. I mean, there's so much here. I mean, all these things spring to mind in AOL, and it reminds me of like the video of like with the priestess and stuff. It reminds me of like that video of like some old Apollo mission that wasn't documented, and they pull in this body of this woman with the stuff on her face. I mean, it's just like like they're maybe recovering that. Just there's so much here. But this aspect of it feels, like something's crashed on the planet Earth. But then when I looked into the moon aspect of it, I'm sure is in here. We'll get into that. But there was a lot of stuff going on the moon with research and stuff. So
Mhm.
I don't know.
Definitely.
Oh yeah. Okay. So this basically is a giant elevator of some kind or something in the middle. And then to me, I believe these are like probably crafts or something. Um, Tons of them,
Mhm.
multiple levels. Um, yeah. Yes. So I have a deep underground military base, reverse engineering. Spherical craft that has crashed was either taken to the underground military base location or it had at some point been stationed out in space and has a connection to this base facility. I got an idea of a weapons upgrade. Base feels under or in the ground. Excuse me, I'm hearing rumbling. Levels in the base on the left side open up. Fighter crafts parked in the docking bays of the underground base has to do with space weapons. Big numbers for the amount of fighters inside the facility.
And you had mentioned to me that this could be connected to the moon, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is there is a, it's all just kind of just comes into this big ball of information to me. But, there's this aspect of this gigantic mothership that kind of descends into the earth. There's an aspect of like a deep underground kind of base. Definitely, I felt like an underground aspect somewhere along the line. Um, but again, there's so much here. Like I get a crash on Earth. It feels like Earth, and then you've got all this other moon aspects of it. So I don't know how they all the connections are made, but yeah, yeah.
Hmm. And this is a second target, B0224 S0424. So that's the second target now.
And again, I see like a craft sitting in something.
Mm-hmm. Like the perfect docking station
Mm-hmm.
or something. It's going
Yep.
into the ground. And kind of like an image of it, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah. Large mothership. There are sparks and flames. It's perhaps been neutralized in some way. There's a fleet, a conservation effort, harmonizing with the Earth's frequency. AOL Rapture. Space-based weapons systems. A pact that is connected with discretion. Because, and I know at some point, I'm sure it's probably in here, but I can't remember. But this is one too where I had a bunch of UFOs like around a planetary body, right? Didn't I have that
Mm-hmm.
too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Planetary cluster, planetary body, and just
Yeah.
crafts and clusters. That
Yeah, I mean,
was
it's
in
like
the.
it's like a defensive parameter to me, is what it reminds me of. It's almost
Mhm.
like a line of defense, is when I look at that. But we'll see.
Yeah, it was in the paper session.
Yeah. Yeah, flames and stuff. Again, to me, it reminds me of this thing's messed up or something. It's not functioning properly.
Mm-hmm. Kind of a rectangular
Mm-hmm.
shaped UFO.
Yeah, impact crater, high volume. I think high volume, maybe like a lot of something, like a high volume of something. Battalion, a transmitter, evacuation plan, hard landing for the craft. I got a sense of interstellar warfare, AOL refugees. But I don't, to be honest, I don't even think that was an AOL. I mean, I think the refugees is probably related. My guess would be to either the people in the pods or the insectoids, one or the other. But anyway, contracts and arrival.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just getting it's like it's emanating something or something out of the bottom of the craft.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's over a planet. It's clearly over a planetary body, and then up another body out in the distance.
Mm-hmm. Kind of like the craft looks like a little bit. And those body planets of planetary bodies and stuff. Sort of just to give a semblance of there was a craft, there's two planetary bodies of some sort, something's going on here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, defensive posture, ancient Earth alliance, a mass sighting event with people down here. Energy frequency and light fields coming from the craft. Circular object in the background near the craft could be a planet or the sun.
Because there was this like a smaller object in the back,
Right,
circular
right.
behind the craft, so kind of a guess what that could be.
Yeah, and this reminded me just like of like kind of like a captain of a ship. Hey, get your stuff, get moving. Let's move it, type of thing. Barking orders.
Pack it up, it's time to go, right? Something like
Yep.
that. And I guess people in pods came up again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, captain of the bridge of a spaceship talking to the crew. Prepare for landing. This craft is coming down. Get your stuff and essentials. Bodies in containers resembling soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Now these guys definitely like. I remember I had visuals of these guys. Like these guys looked human to me, or human-ish. Um, the ones in the pods to me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I guess these are the people from the ship that are in the pods.
That'd be my guess. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of guess, soldiers in pods.
Yeah, space soldiers, hundreds, if not thousands, of these containers. Those soldiers inside them. That's exactly how it came into my mind too. Hundreds of these, if not thousands. Um, humanity's freedom. Clones stored in stasis containers. Some kind of masquerade taking place. Escape hatch. Protect the clones situation. Strategist. Hiding this facility. Waiting for reinforcements. Fragmented technology and suppression happening.
So again, interesting like clones and pods and people in pods kept coming up like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, the clones thing really blew my mind because the way it came in was like almost like just like how could there be of us, like of humans, you know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Like that? Because it's just so strange. Like you're telling me, because to me it feels like it's almost. I mean, this could be wrong. I don't know, but the way it came in, it just makes it feel like it's like literally like us humans in clones or something, or clones of us. I don't know, but strange. It's all weird, but yeah, very strange. Yeah, so this to me, like, I can see her smiling over there. Yeah, so this is almost like they're packing stuff up, and I got a sense of like assemble the jets in the background. Um, yeah, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, soldiers on active duty, closed off area, guy talking or taking two doors and closing them, military operation, rescue, medical transport, bring everything, close off the area. I got a sense of like this is their responsibility to contain this phenomena, scramble the jets, discharge energy in a weapons anomaly. So to me, this is very, like a recovery type of thing. That's what that reminds me of reading that data set.
Mm-hmm. Typical pack it all up, cover it up, take it away. Nothing ever happened here. Keep people out from this place so nobody sees and nothing, knows nothing.
We know what's strange too is it's unbelievably feeling routine. You know what I mean? Like it's almost like just
Yep.
another day. you
Yeah,
know?
just another day on the military job doing our work.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what it sounds like to me.
Like things are in place for these situations. This is all
Yeah.
handled and managed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a specific protocol and how it's handled, and nobody
exactly,
sees nothing,
exactly.
nobody hears nothing.
Hmm.
It's all handled properly.
Hmm. All under the rug. Yep, weapons access program, space treaty, reinforcements. Yeah, so weapons access program, a space treaty, reinforcements, confinement of military personnel logs, a scarcity. Something is rare here. Excuse me. Corporate espionage, military industrial complex, space force, and destined to find something. Something is being. Oh, someone is being aloof about this.
Mm-hmm. So what's that all about?
Um, I don't even remember that, to be honest with you. um, I don't even remember writing that, but what it would relate to me is it's what it feels like to me is it's almost like don't worry about it. It's all going to be taken care of. We'll take care of it. It just feels like disclosure related, like just things being withheld from the government type of feeling.
Yeah, because you were probing into from this one, you're probing what's more about that, like what else is there
Hmm.
to that? And that
Yeah.
was the follow-up to
Oh,
that.
okay.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
this is the
Hmm.
follow-up. Like what's more?
Yeah.
What's related to this? Show me what else is here.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was the further more data set points about that situation.
Yeah.
Hmm. What it's related to, like what are the elements of that?
Mhm.
What are they
Yeah,
doing?
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And this was interesting too because to me it reminded me of military. But there was another guy there. It was almost like he was waving, like checking them for radiation or something. Is what it reminded me of. Who knows why? But that's kind of what it reminded me of. Like maybe because they're next to this craft, or maybe because they dealt with a being, like some other beings or something. But it was almost like they're being checked for radiation or something.
Hmm.
What it reminds me of.
Yeah, and I guess military maybe because they're wearing the
Hmm.
fatigues, the green camo as usual.
Yeah.
So,
Well, this is too where it gets into the. This is where I think you start to get into like where they're kind of, you have the
hmm.
confrontation between these two species.
Hmm.
Yeah, weapons access program, division of soldiers, military personnel, medevac situation. Military personnel are safeguarding the area and waving people away. Military people having their hands up. An individual is wearing a larger containment suit, checking military personnel for radiation. People or soldiers in bondage, being processed. Memorandum, file server, a facility that stores and houses soldiers, military personnel, a flight risk. I got a sense of restraint being enforced used here. An emissary, you have your orders coming into words like somebody would say you have your orders to a soldier. Okay, toxicity of the area. Military personnel are not enjoying doing this job. Tasks assigned. I have behavioral components, enhancement technology. Primary caretakers of a facility not treated very well. Combat ready, managing a situation and handling it. Now, I just want to add here the behavioral components of that when that came in um, was like to me it was like almost like being controlled, like literally like there's somebody controlling the behavior of these people with some technology maybe or something. That's kind of what it felt like.
Hmm. It's similar what I got from the priestess, that there's like mind control, there's behavioral component control, like changing people's behavior, modifying feelings, modifying the way you behave for some reason.
Hmm.
So that seemed to be a theme from that one. And I guess it here it's something to do with stuff that can, I guess that goes into military things as well.
That's what I'm wondering. Like I'm wondering because to me in my mind I'm thinking, so this is referring to either these insectoid beings or the military personnel. And to be honest with you, it felt like it was the military personnel. So you know, um, I don't know. I don't know what that's about.
Hmm. This one was very interesting.
Yeah, to me, this is like it looks like a big boat sitting in ice or something. But to me, I look at that and I feel like this is a giant structure. I don't know if it's a UFO or an underground, but I feel like maybe it's an old UFO or something sitting within a rock of some kind or a mountainous environment. I feel like that's what that's referring to.
Hmm. There's just a sense of people here. Like there's people in this thing inside of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Mm. Some kind of a either advanced boat or something or a craft.
Yeah, so I'm getting like a sense of like a bunch of tunnels or something. So like an underground labyrinth. Soldiers are behind bars in here. Compartmentalized location, frozen compartments, like AOL Noah's Ark. A planetary lifeboat for someone or something. Um, So to me, that like this aspect of the target just reminds me. It just like the AOL would be like like an escaping race or something. It crashed into a planet, like something was going on maybe on their planet. They crashed somewhere. Um, like that's like their escape vessel from the planet type of vibe.
Mhm.
Um, destined to find this. So to me, it's like this structure is like waiting to be an Earth type of thing. Trapped in ice and trapped in time. True nature of an evolving species, and frozen in time.
So, like, perhaps these beings are still there, frozen wherever this space arc or is.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it feels like to me. Yeah,
I mean, Noah's Ark comes up in a lot of stuff, so but this doesn't feel like Noah's boat. It feels like something different.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't feel like a boat to me at all. It feels like a spaceship. To be honest with you,
Hmm.
kind of like imagine like a planetary a planetary crisis, and they build a ship to get off planet and come to this other location, and then they get whatever happens that it crashes or who knows, whatever. But that's kind of the vibe it feels like to me.
Hmm.
Yeah, to me, I just got like a vehicle and like an orbital craft or something sitting there.
Hmm. There's like three things in the background that are
Yeah, I felt
sparking.
like maybe that was on fire or something. Like something's being discharged off those structures. That structure,
Hmm.
maybe part of the site stuff's on fire, maybe or something.
Hmm. It's like a sphere or something because the object is a sphere.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. So I got a sense of multiple insurgencies and a truck on site, a mountainous surface structure, um, wreckage of a spherical object, crashed spherical object. Excuse me, can project what events are happening out in space. Holographic technology showing spheres, crafts, and land structures and planetary systems. Three square objects with red energy behind the truck, craft signatures. Um, there is an alliance. AOL Avians. It's a strategic weapons alliance. Um, but like craft signatures to me, that I felt like that was like maybe energy signatures.
hmm.
Um, that's how I would have taken that.
Mm. It's very interesting. Like something obviously crashed or maybe landed and it was discovered. That's just what it looks like to me.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That's what it looks like to me too. That's how I would interpret it.
Avians, maybe species of that craft, or I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. You know what I mean? I don't know. Okay, it's probably I probably doing because this whole thing reminds me of like a Corey Good situation or something. Probably that's probably why AOL'd that. But yeah.
I don't think it's a Corey Good situation. I mean, there's
No, 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 no. I don't either. But I don't know why I. It's just an AOL. Like I said, it's just an AOL.
mm, well, it sounds interesting because I've heard people talking about avian species, like that there are avian species, different ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nothing connected to Corey Good or that stuff. Different,
Yeah.
like
Like bird-like species. You mean like?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
bird-like
Mm-hmm.
sentient
Mm-hmm.
species.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I've run into a lot of weird creatures. I mean, very different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The universe is big and there's so many different
Mm-hmm.
species out there.
Well, like I said too, when I went back to the insectoid and the humanoid, they didn't all look exactly alike. You know what I mean? They just
Hmm.
kind of they had that insectoid primarily feature, but there were other ones that were kind of floating around that may have been kind of something close to that.
Hmm.
That's what it kind of reminded me of.
I mean,
Anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised if there are avians and they, you know, come here maybe or something
Hmm.
visits and something is found, you know, it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, and to me, I would say that is relating to a structure over multiple objects or above a mountain or projecting something at like four separate objects. Um, that's what I would get out of that.
Hmm.
Yeah, again, uniformed soldiers, weapons division, gravitic technology came in a lot. And then escalation, warfare, super soldier alliance, special forces unit, first class vessel, soldier, weapons arsenal, surveillance equipment, spy technology, AOL, uh, divisions of elites, weapons systems, and scare tactics. Yeah, I do remember like a tactical aspect of some of this.
Yeah, and you also had mentioned drone arsenals and drone armies.
Yeah, yeah,
So that was interesting. That was in the paper session.
yeah. I'm not sure what this is. I don't know if this is referring to something going down, like a tunnel or something. I'm not sure.
You had said that it's kind of like a platform weapon of some sort, and it's bombarding surface structures.
Oh yeah, yeah, that could be.
Like that bombardment on a planetary scale.
Hmm.
Like a space weapons platform or a spaceship that is hitting targets.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. An armada, heavy infiltration, ancient hybrid species, highly equipped, reinforcements tactics, planetary surface, buildings, mountains, weapons arsenal, planetary bombardment, problematic behavior, men in uniform. I got a Mars research vessel, well AOL, but triangular spaceship and a large, tall, standing, horizontal, stationary weapons tower platform system that is bombarding the planetary surface when there are buildings. Oh, where there are buildings. Okay. Active deception taking place here. Dark and vast regions of space. I have nuclear events and arrangement done.
It's like a lot of things going on in this, whatever this part of the target is like, has to do Mars, planetary surface. It's like military in Mars. Interesting.
Yeah, I mean Mars research vessel at this point in the target, it's probably not an AOL. I mean, it's probably appropriate to whatever this target is.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but again,
So,
so again, it's like so much going on. Mars, Moon, Earth, Mars, Moon, Earth, Mars.
yeah. Military
Sirius B,
weapons.
you know.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Sirius B, and
Mhm.
it's very interesting.
Um, I don't know what that is. To me, that looks like something crashing or energy or something, or might be referring to documents relating to something that happens that may be a conceptual sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so supersonic missile strike. Missile is heading in a specific direction, a mountainous region, a wealth of information, well hidden land formation. Either missile. Okay, because I remember when I remember this part of the target. To me, like my AOL for this, I think was like this reminded me of like when we sent that rocket to the moon, like to find water or something. Like does it remind me of like we hit something that was up there? Yeah. So, but anyway, so well hidden land formation, either missile crash or went inside the mountain. A scrub mission, Black Project Division, investment opportunities.
Yeah, so I guess there's some kind of a structure inside something, or this thing went into or was targeting. Because you
Yeah.
had like a structure inside the mountain feature.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Maybe it was looking for something and that's kind of its target, or I'm coming in hot. You let
Yeah.
me in
Yeah.
or not? Just feels
Yeah, I mean,
like that.
supersonic missile strikes pretty high level, so that could be something else, just some kind of projectile or whatever. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, yeah. It could be undercover mission of some sort. Get something, take out something, take care of it, done. Um,
yeah.
yeah, so interesting.
So yeah, this to me is, you asked me to go back and dig around in the moon because I had some moon stuff. It's probably conceptual. Like I feel like it was telling me something. Like I don't think it refers to like the moon landing specifically, but it was almost like it was telling me like we own the moon now, like Earth, like humanity owns the moon. Like that's kind of like the vibe I got. As to maybe once we did not or something. You know what I mean? I'm not sure. But that's kind of what the vibe was. Like at an astronaut with a helmet and he's planting the flag, and that was kind of my vibe there.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got an allegiance to the United States. IA well Buzz Aldrin. Space Division, the Space Force flag, United States. Yeah, the moon is ours now.
Yeah, it just to me like, hey, we're now on the moon and we have our stuff on the moon. We're operating. Just to me, like sounds like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they might have operations or something going on the moon.
Hmm.
Because Buzz Aldrin, those were the first Apollo missions, weren't they? When
Yeah, yeah,
when they were like Artemis missions and other module missions with United
yeah,
States
yeah,
astronauts going and landing on the moon. Buzz Aldrin being like the first dude in the US astronauts who got to experience that. So it's like probably you're just seeing events happening in history too that are related to the target.
yeah.
That's kind of my vibe, what I'm
Hmm.
picking up.
Yeah, so this to me represented the moon, and there are different factions working on different things, uh, basically research
Hmm.
into various things.
Like you said, various divisions. One, two,
Yeah.
three, four, five.
Yeah, planetary system, weapons research, moon with various quadrants of group divisions 1 through 5, research and development. Each quadrant of group of divisions is working on unique scientific developments of various advanced technologies, exotic antimatter energy sources, propulsion, and anti gravity technologies, pulse beam, tachyon transmitters, toroidal field sequencing of time and space for time gating to different dimensions and realities with beyond the speed of light technologies. Different classes of science. Yeah, big part of it felt like weapons research. It's a good place to. There's nobody out there. You do whatever you want. Um, exotic.
Hmm. Definitely. I mean, it sounds like they have facilities on the moon now where they do this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're like if they're inhabiting old things. You know what I mean? And they've just kind of taken up shop or whatnot, or if they've built stuff up there new. I don't know, but they're up there and they're active. They've been up there for a while.
Hmm.
Yeah, so this was this exchange with these insectoids. It wasn't like a typical gray or anything. It was like an insectoid. I kept wanting to draw the mandibles on them, and these guys primarily felt frightened. That's the vibe I got from them. It's like being
Mhm.
booted out of their territory or something, like, uh, yeah. Insectoid being seems almost robotic with behavioral issues. Devastating event in Earth's atmosphere, probably. Firefight taking place. The insectoid being is in a defensive position, being surrounded. Soldiers saying we got him. Insectoid being is freaking out a little bit. This insectoid being is a pacifist. A fight over a planetary body. A melee. Struggle and fighting amongst beings. And then I have pandemic exposure. I
Mhm.
don't know why.
Mm. Interesting. So there's a P event and a lot of other interesting things going on. What is this about?
This section to me, I don't know if it was like a humanoid force was like eradicating an insectoid force kind of thing. That's what it reminded me of, or capturing them, or kicking them out, or whatever. To me, I felt like kind of a capture situation. Why I'm not really sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's the one of the little guys and a human, I think.
You said there was like some kind of a processing going on and intake.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right. I felt like he had cuffs on him. I remember that now. Yeah, yeah. It was like he's being processed. It was like this guy was being processed.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny because a lot of times, like, I'll get stuff. You'll get an image, like you'll get an impression relating something. Like, I don't know if there's literally an insectoid being with handcuffs on him, but my subconscious is telling me this guy's being processed. He's a prisoner type of thing. But yeah, so subatomic particles, artifact, and contingency plan. Talking about reallocating resources elsewhere. Directive, permanent placement, engineered soldiers, evacuation going on. Like, get everyone out of there. A directive. Extraterrestrial being getting processed. Prison transfer and exchange. Planetary ambassador in training. I got depleted forces. AOL forced evacuation. A surgical strike on the planet, divisive, dwindling forces, or dwindling reinforcements.
Yeah. So you had the little guy being processed. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
very interesting.
yeah,
Um, it's like evacuate somewhere, get these people out of there.
yeah,
So it's like you were sensing into activities going on. So maybe part of disclosure.
could be. Yeah, yeah. To me, it was almost like, is it like, it was almost like, I mean, I didn't feel like the human aspect was all that nice, to be honest with you. It felt like they were kind of like kicking them out, is what it kind of felt like to me. Um, but yeah, I'm not sure. But okay, so okay. Oh, I already got that. I already said that. Yeah, that to me just reminded me of, like, multiple structures, flying structures or something.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got a sense of environmental decay. Fighter squad, send everything we have. Like, this is like the audible thing. Like, it's almost like you're hearing the guy talk. Send everything we have. Defensive strategy associated with this. Um, Fight squadron coming around the backside of a planetary body. A sense of escalation, taking it to the next level. It's almost like there's like an engagement that's getting like getting ratcheting up or something, and there's some kind of engagement happening. Okay, someone discussing the events that took place in regards to a battle, outcome, and military strategies. Meetings taking place with various talks.
It's like you were saying, there's talking, something's going on, and there's these of fighter squadron events, something's big is going on there.
Yeah, yeah.
Like hearing the talking of this, of as this stuff is happening, like you were hearing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you're in the room during the battle and you're hearing this guy send everything we got, type of thing. You're just in the room for that second. You just heard this guy speak. But yeah, so this is uh again like a bunch of these UFOs coming around the backside of this planetary body. And I remember this. I was getting this strong sense of like a defensive posturing. It's almost like they're defending this area, maybe of space or of the body itself, of this planet or this, whatever this thing is, this particular body. That was my sense.
And these are just some renders of what this looked like, I guess, with these ships.
So interplanetary defense strategy. Yeah, planetary defense, forming a line of defense and a protective barrier. Many large ships within the protection fleet, circular spaceships, part of the fleet protecting a planetary body, a corrupt government, and a secrecy of planetary affairs happening.
So some kind of a battle, something protecting
Yeah,
them.
it's almost like there's a fleet out there defending our space or something. Like that's kind of like the vibe, you know what I mean? Like there's literal fights happening out there all the time, or something. I don't know. It was quite space opera.
Mhm.
Yeah, so again, you got this one body, a satellite, and another body. Something taking place there.
Mhm.
So receiving a signal, signaling of the fleet, planetary body, or a gigantic structure, exodus of a planetary body, a planetary expulsion, and a detention center. I feel like the detention center may relate to where they took these beings, the ones that were, these insectoids primarily.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I had this guy just like looking out into space, like just from these big glass windows. Just I don't know what that was about, but it's like being on a spaceship or a space station. And he's looking out into space. Class of soldiers, a space fleet, ancient space laws. It's almost like there's like laws related to space engagement going back a millennia, um, of how things are engaged around maybe this planetary space or whatever. The man is looking out into the vast expanse of space. There's a human element present.
Mm. Very interesting.
Yeah, to me, these were the the insectoid like beings, kind of working, doing stuff. Um, it's almost like they're hiding sometimes. Like it's funny, I don't know if they're hiding from me or somebody else, but yeah, it's kind of what it reminds me of.
And one is creeping on a rock,
Yeah, yeah,
just doing this.
yes, yeah.
Maybe he's spying on them and what they're doing.
It could be. It could be.
Because they're having some kind of a meeting, they're doing something,
Yeah, yeah.
and this guy is like, well, I'm gonna have a look.
Oh yeah, yes. Yeah, insectoid extraterrestrial being hiding in a rock. Biomechanical species of beings, colonists in a colony in a rocky location, symbiotic creatures, celestial creatures, demands ordnance, sense of recognition, reconnaissance. There is a prisoner and a prisoner exchange, a refugee camp. Yeah, it's like an alien refugee situation is what it reminded me of, really.
Hmm. Very interesting. Like this is not normal.
No. You know, then I've got all these creatures. I want to sketch these creatures behind bars. Yeah,
Insectoids behind bars.
yeah. Because I was trying to figure out, you know, and it was primarily, it felt like the ETs were behind the bars. I mean, I remember the first sketch I had, it was like a little guy. It was like hands on the bars like this, you know, type of thing. And I wanted to see if the humans were in there, but it seemed like it was mainly these ETs to me. But so ancient space treaty invaders and unlawful takeovers of lands, time space treaty AOL, insectoid and other extraterrestrials beings are locked up behind bars. Prisoners of war from Sirius B are sitting in jail cells. I get a sense of visitation rights and an exclusion zone. Um, and to me, that maybe maybe refer to the planetary body that they're on or something. Like maybe they're not supposed to be in certain areas, or someone isn't supposed to be in certain areas, and then rights of visitation on a planetary body, possibly. That'd be my
Mm.
guess.
Very interesting.
Yeah, more bodies in containers. Interstellar travel, subordinates, stasis pods, trade deal happening. People in stasis pods are more humanoid. Beings in the cages and the detention centers are insectoid and non-human. Colony of soldiers in Sirius B. So there's often times where it was like I couldn't really figure it out. I couldn't figure out if like these insectoids were trading their people for, you know, like humans in these containers, or what was actually happening. But basically humans in the life pods, insectoids behind bars type of situation. That's what I got out of it.
Yeah, colony of soldiers in Sirius B.
Yeah.
And I guess that's the soldiers.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to earlier, where I had this situation where it's like they were kind of like they're scoping out a target area type of vibe. And then when I flipped it, I think I can't remember what I saw, maybe a craft or something. I don't remember.
Hmm. So soldiers.
Yeah, when I look at these guys, you know what comes to mind?
Hmm.
Like badass. You know, like these guys are badasses. Like they're humans, but like upgraded to the max. Like it's what it reminds me of.
Hmm. Same.
I mean, it's crazy too because I'm human, and they felt like the aggressors in this target. That was the like the weirdness of this whole thing for me. Like, how are we the aggressors in this? You know, but maybe I don't know yet because I haven't seen the, you know, I don't know what the target is, but maybe they're, I don't know. But anyway, so teams of soldiers, active area, rifles and scopes, male soldiers behind enemy lines. A species is advancing on someone's territory. Human-like species trying to remove the intruders. Okay, expulsion happening. Other human military are watching the activities happening in Sirius B. So, like again, like I'm trying to like probe for like this deviant nature of these insectoids, and I just really wasn't finding it. So it may be a situation where they're they're invading this territory and they're not like conscious of what they're doing, or I don't know. But the humans seem like they were doing the ass kicking in this situation from my perspective.
Oh yeah. It looks like human soldiers.
Yeah, yeah. Again, that reminds you like many subjects, you know, many life forms in the distance, and then again this sense of this structure that's hiding within the land feature.
Mm-hmm. Like a pyramid or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's the land feature, I guess.
A hybrid mainframe, ancient underground pyramid, celestial evacuation, human-like beings, an act of surrender, a sample size, maybe humans, expedition going on, a dying species, super soldiers, monopoly on the planet, investigative debris, resurgence, resurface, hearing the words, we found it, a fragmented technology, a special division, unique transactions happening.
Interesting. And that ends the whiteboard tasking. So it ends the whiteboard stuff. And we're going to go into the feedback now of what these targets were: M224, H424, and B02224, S0424. So what were the assigned targets? For remote viewing the Black Site facility run by the Black Operations Group. So have you ever heard of the Black Operations Group?
Mm-mm.
There's been whistleblowers talking about, on a human scale, a Black Operations Group going on since 1947, recovering crafts, shooting down NHI, non-human intelligences, recovering their tech. So these two targets are that. What does this group does? What are they into?
Okay.
So target 1, H424, target summary. There had been a visit to a Black Site underground base facility run by the Black Operations Group. The facility seems to have various levels to it with different technologies that are at the site. It seems that this is a structure with multiple levels that could be a military-run facility. Are there triangular and pyramid-shaped reverse-engineered crafts that had originally been shot down and back-engineered in the underground Black Site facility, hovering in one of the hangar bays? So that's kind of the summary of the target, and then target objectives. Target Part A, focus in on the Black Operations Group Black Site underground base facility. What kinds of technologies are being reverse engineered in this Black Site? Are there anti-gravity crafts there and other exotic project work being conducted at this particular facility? Target Part B is focus and see if there are any triangular and pyramid-shaped extraterrestrial crafts hovering in the hangar bays of the underground facility. How do these crafts operate and what kinds of anti-gravity technology makes them work? What kinds of other anti-gravity technologies kept in the hangar base? How does this technology work? So that's target 1, target part A, and target part B. Like, look at what this group is doing. What are they into? What do these Black Sites look at? And I guess broad scope, what is the technology? What have they done? So that was target 1. Target 2 is B0224, S0424. Target summary is the Black Site underground facility seems to be working on producing devices and generators for zero-point extraction as a means of an energy power source. This facility has various labs that are connected to research and development with photonic crystals, quantum self-contained computer systems, and other exotic technology. It seems that there is one pyramid generator attached to the base that is producing zero-point energy to power the facility. This Black Site base is somewhat square and rectangular shaped and is underground somewhere in the US. And the focus of this is part A, focuses on the Black Site underground base facility, and C, what this facility is producing or manufacturing for devices and generators for the extraction of zero point and creating an independent energy power source Somewhere in the US is photonic technology with crystals being developed for producing advanced forms of quantum computing for self-sufficient systems of encoding data and communications that replaces the Wi-Fi in internet so the secured information cannot be hacked from the self-enclosed quantum systems. Target B, part B, is focus and see if there is a pyramid generator in operation and how is it producing zero point energy to power the base itself. Is there a black material substance that covers a pyramid generator, and how does it work to produce the zero point energy combination with a pyramid generator? What does this technology look like, and how does it operate? Describe what the black site base facility looks like and what type of work is done there. So that is the feedback for both targets and what the targeting tasking was.
Very interesting.
So what would you say from these parameters? Like,
Well, I would say that the this pyramid structure to me is just a giant craft with like a pyramid slapped on the top of it type of thing. You know what I mean? Like it's the best way I could describe it. It just makes me wonder is like if you dug all the way underneath some of these pyramids, like what's really underneath them, you know? That's what it reminds me of. So like there's things that came into this that reminded me of different things. And one of them was like a pyramid in Alaska or something like the Black Pyramid. That was kind of my sense of it. It reminded me though of an environment like Skinwalker, almost where like there's this something that's doing something that's not working quite right, and it's generating, and it's kind of things are strange or happening in the area because of it. As far as the insectoid aspect of it, it makes me wonder if these things are living down there or something in those caverns, or I'm not sure. Or if those were the original beings and we kind of pushed them out of there. I don't know. But to be honest with you, it kind of makes me feel like maybe this is an very old craft that came and crashed or landed on Earth. Maybe they were having problems on their planet, and for whatever reason, these guys never came out of stasis, or I don't know. But whatever they're dealing with there is, I think, primarily a gigantic mothership. That's my vibe out of it.
Well, and the Black Operations Group has shot down non-human intelligence crafts, recovered beings, and the crafts to study it, reverse engineer it, and kept the non-human beings as basically kidnapped beings. So they've held them against their will. This is what the Black Operations Group does. And they also have cloning centers and facilities. So you were picking up on a lot of cloning and soldiers.
Well, and that's what weird to me is because the clones, when I think about clones and you start to get into ETs, I'm assuming that they're the ETs, but that wasn't the case here. These were like, because I remember I saw clear visuals of like your standard American white boy, just like naked, like in a tube. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They have cloning centers where they are growing organs, they're cloning people, they're transporting bodies in stasis containers.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you what I really didn't like about like as far as just a feeling thing was was that the human aspect of it seemed not good. You know what I mean? As to where you'd want to believe that it would be kind of the other way around. Um, because that makes sense why I was getting so many, like I had these I have this big mothership, but I also have these like orbs that are being crashed and they're picking them up and recovering them. No wonder I was picking up on so many different things. But um, because to be honest with you, the beings that they were interacting with didn't feel all that aggressive to me.
Because they're not. They've shot, this black operations group has shot down innocent beings, literally targeted their crafts with scalar beam tech, shot it
Mm-hmm.
down, retrieved everything, and taking it to study it. They've killed some of these beings, they've held them hostage.
Mm-hmm.
So this,
Yeah, because Ileana, that's what it like to me. It was like these people are just refugees. Like some of these people were just trying to get off their planet and go to a safe haven or something. And it's almost like, no, 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 no. You know, you enter our space, we are allowed to take you down and take everything you got. I don't know, but
yeah,
again, the human
exactly.
aspect of yeah, it was like a space refugee situation, and like I said earlier when we went over the feedback, everything's they've already got um, protocols for all of this to where they can get it done so quickly. You never knew it even happened. Because to be honest, with knowing the feedback, I kind of feel bad for these insectoid. I feel like some of these guys are just trying to get away. Like they're just trying to survive.
Exactly. And the tasking was see what this Black Operations Group does, what their technology is, and what they've been into. And you got everything, like parts of the ships being shot down. Remember, you had the platform stations, military, and the
Mm-hmm.
paper sessions. It's like,
Yeah,
to me, it looked like scalar beam weapons shooting down craft, and this stuff is
yeah.
being observed and monitored. They're monitoring the quality of how they shoot down these crafts, and it's done maliciously on purpose.
I mean, it's so. I'll be honest, it's like it's really like after getting the feedback, it's sad
It is.
because because the reason why I said something about being aloof, because all of this, and from my perspective, remote viewing it is being used as a platform of defense. You know what I mean? Like, oh, no, you don't need to worry about this. These things come into our airspace, and we need to protect the planet. And like a lot of these guys are they're just regular people. Like they're just rather just trying to get around or trying to find a safe spot. There isn't any malicious intent necessarily. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there is on some cases, but that wasn't the situation I got here. It was like literally like if you enter this space, we're going to take you out and we're going to take everything you got.
Exactly. And it's done on purpose. They call in these ETs with psionics, psionic human soldiers, and bred soldiers who have been changed and just gifted psionics who they pick up from third world countries and put them in stasis containers, bring them down into underground military black sites or facilities, and use them to try to reverse engineer this technology from non-human intelligences. Like they shoot the crafts down, and these psionics have to figure out how the tech works and reverse engineer it. Or they're using the psionics to lure in innocent ETs to get their technology and to get them and then study them to figure out what they can get from them biologically or on a molecular level, genetics, to alter human soldiers and make them into super soldiers, basically. So
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean
you
to.
were picking up those elements in the paper sessions and the whiteboard stuff.
Yeah, it's really wild because it's not that I because I've ran into situations where I've ran into targets where it seems that we have access to some of this stuff, um, but to see, I never would have expected us to be in such a position of oppressive like dominance. It's not this whole time I would have expected us to be really in the trick bag with this whole disclosure thing, but now it doesn't seem like that at all. It seems like we've already branched out. We've got something going on the moon, it seems like, and like we're all about arming up. Like I feel like this is all about like arming things up. Just like it's just silly, the military industrial complex, just a creating reasons for making defense measures for defensive, just for the heck of it type of thing.
And this Black Operations Group is above the military industrial complex, top secret above it, and they've been this way since 1947, after the Roswell incident happened. So they have access to military black site facilities. They have R&D departments, underground facilities, where they have they have their own infrastructures independent of U.S. government and U.S. military. Sure, they work with contractors, but they have their own independent stuff that they do.
It's
They
I mean,
figured
just
it out.
unbelievable the scale. The scale of this is
Yeah, and
unbelievable.
they're not just in the US, they're a conglomerate that is worldwide. So it's not just the US that this happens in. They operate outside of normal military parameters. And remote viewings have been done on this stuff before, so I was able to take stuff from those remote viewings and put it into this tasking for the specifics. So these are some of just, I've remote viewed this and others have remote viewed this. So this is kind of what I got originally from it. Like, I guess, target tasking models, and I put the images afterwards. Like, the original tasking did not have these images. This I put under just to show you the reference of what other remote viewings have been done. If you're interested to see the rest of it, do you want to go over that?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So target tasking, like I put the image models after you finish the paper sessions and the whiteboard sessions, not to give you anything of what was in the target tasking, just the wording, that one page that was what it was written in, and this is the after, kind of like the reference. Images: underground military black site facilities with pyramid attached to the base building that is a rectangular shape. The pyramid coated with the black substance is a pyramid generator, creating 0 point energy as alternative free energy resources to power the black site bases that this black operations group runs. So these bases are on Earth. This is what they have as their infrastructure. And they're trying to create pyramid generators to extract 0 point energy and free energy, not to be connected to the surface electrical grids, to be independent of all of that. So, and that's what they build out and cover it up, and that's underground, these kinds of bases. It's what we got from the original remote viewing. And they seem to like pyramids. They seem to be like putting pyramids on everything as energy source, like alternative, like what you were getting in the paper source is looking for alternative energy source production and resources. That's what these guys do. They figured out how to do this.
Do you think this connects to all the pyramids around the globe? I mean, you think there's some kind of connection there?
I think what this Black Operations Group did is they have access to esoteric knowledge, and they took all that knowledge and back engineered stuff of how the pyramids work for creating energy, alternative energy sources. Like they use that knowledge about the pyramids to add on to these bases.
Very interesting.
And this stuff is all underground on Earth. And they've had these facilities for a while now. Like you said, they have the protocols, they have the means, they have the infrastructure, so why not do it? They've been doing this for a while. So that's kind of what we were getting from these remote viewings. And I'm like, well, I mean, we have this stuff, but I want to do it outside the class, independent of what the students in the SRV class were remote viewing and what I was remote viewing. Like, is this stuff true? Can somebody else who's independent verify any of this? So
Yeah.
this is why I asked you, would you be interested in some targeting that is like, would you be interested? And this was totally double blind. I did not tell you anything about it. Totally double blind targets. And these are some of like the craft that they have, the Black Operations Group has floating in their hangar decks in these black site facilities. So you kept picking up on a craft docking underground, going underground back into its hangar deck, docking, like that's this stuff. And that's what they have in these black site facilities. And you were getting the triangles and the pyramids, like you were getting pyramid ships or rectangular ships. That's what this stuff is. The gravitic anti-gravity crafts that this Black Operations Group has reverse engineered from the various beings, crafts that they've shot down. They've been doing this from 1947 on Earth. So this is the tech they've engineered. So that's what you were picking up on in various parts of the paper sessions and the whiteboard stuff.
Yeah, it looks like a place where to have a lot of catwalks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it does. It does. Like, look, catwalks. So this is from previous remote viewings, and this has not been shown anywhere else. It's been like kept specific to this tasking project and for what the other students in the class picked up. So I wanted to see if we can get this independently perhaps verified beyond the students and beyond me. Because I prefer multiple remote viewing data. I know the students are good, the teacher is good, but and I'm decent with remote viewing, but it's like independent verification. You picked up the catwalks, you picked up the crafts, you picked up the reverse engineering, you picked up the soldiers, the combat, the ETs, that extraterrestrials have been held prisoners because they have been. They've been captured. So, and this Black Operations Group, it's elements of humans that are not good, that are doing some of this stuff. And they have these facilities where they have this tech just sitting there in the
I
hangar
had
decks.
a lot of miserable people here, and just people like just like living in isolation, like just not having a great time. You're just working for a living type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they apparently have psionics living in these underground facilities doing work for this group. Reverse engineer, like humans from third world countries that are picked up because of their abilities and put in these sites to figure out
Yeah,
how
and they're from third world countries. Who's looking for them?
yeah.
You could take them and they're gone. Nobody cares.
Yeah, and they're offered like you get clean clothes, you get clean water, you get food, medical attention. That's what they have in these black sites, underground facilities. The people are provided for, but they have to work for it, you know, use their abilities to reverse engineer this tech because some of the military operatives, they don't have the ability to connect to this tech, but the psionics do. So that's why they're using these people for this to figure out how this works or back engineer it in these
So
facilities.
who does this? I mean, is this based like the primary faction, like some, like would you say some under like military US military faction that went rogue way back in the day?
Yeah, it's an independent military operation. that I would say did go rogue and created this group. Um, and they've even killed JSOC operatives, if you have ever heard of JSOC.
Hmm.
It's another military operation out of Virginia. So
Yeah.
this group has killed other military operatives who've gotten too close to their operations. So that's why I said to you in the beginning, you might need a hazmat suit at the end of this. Be careful. Watch your six and pack your heat because this target
Yeah.
is
It's crazy because um the whole thing of like the really nasty pit in my stomach is the whole idea of like this feeling of we're doing this to defend you, to defend your freedoms, to defend the planetary body, to defend, when in reality it's just like political bullshit. It's just a reason to create more exotic weapons and do these awful things in the name of expanding the military industrial type of thing. You know what I mean? Kind of
yes,
feeling.
yes, but they're even higher than the military industrial complex. And that's the
Because that's what's
shocking part.
yeah, I mean, that was my big confusion. It's like, why are we the bad guys? Like that was my whole thing. Like these insects, I'm probing into their minds. Like, no, these guys are cool. They're just trying to survive, and we're there like gunning them down, putting them in cages.
Yep, that's what
Crazy.
this Black Operations Group does. And so that's just because they want the tech, they want the DNA from the beings to study it and implement it in super soldier operations to create super soldiers, augment human soldiers. So that's where your super soldier portions came in the targets. You were
Yeah,
getting
and the
that.
super soldiers felt. I mean, they felt like I said, like badasses, but controlled. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Meaning, like controlled on a level of technology. Like there's going to be no uprisings around here. You know what I mean? Or what do you
Mhm.
call it? Like where you go against your commanding officer type of thing.
Oh, they
Um,
can't because they're microchipped.
exactly. It was like, yeah, like there's not going to be any behavioral, um, like there was behavior controls. What it felt like you guys are going to be, don't get too excited. You're not going anywhere.
Exactly. Exactly. They're not going anywhere. And they like the craft stuff, they like the medical stuff. They're quite bored piloting the crafts. They're beyond this even. This is boring to them now. So they want other exotic things that they're after. But this is part of it. This seems to be, and like when I was tasked this remote viewing and the people from the class, they're like, this is so crazy that this could be happening out there. But I'm like, okay, it is.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, we're a bad neighborhood. It seems like, like you know what I mean. Like if you're at a planet that's blowing up or something, you're looking for a place to go for refuge. Don't come here.
they're gonna shoot you down. They're gonna
Yeah, we're
take
gonna
you
take
and
your shit. Yeah.
take your stuff, dissect you, study you, keep some of you alive, cage you, and see what happens, you know? So this is what that is.
Who
Some
was
of
your
the
instructor,
hmm?
Ileana? Who's your instructor?
He's a Canadian instructor, a guy who's
Oh,
really likes the military protocols, and he is really into like farm colloquials. So old guy, not young. So that
yeah.
was, and he's big on like ask him more, get the full tasking, ask him more. There's more to this. So this is why I
Mhm,
kept asking you for like prompts. There's
mhm,
a bit,
yeah.
can you look into this further? A little bit more, a little bit more. This guy's old school. He is
Mhm.
like not an easy instructor, unfortunately, but a good instructor. So he really challenged me and the other students.
I will say though, and not just with this, to many target I'm working on right now, and another, there is an entire world beneath our feet. Um, Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, I mean, I've done projects around these deep underground military bases
Mm-hmm.
are everywhere and expansive. Um, Somebody just said like, "Oh, I don't know why we're not building underground like like we would have to in Mars if we lived on Mars." We're already doing it here for
Yes, we
reasons
are.
I don't know. Yeah.
Black operations, military, black sites, and they want their own infrastructure. They have it. They're independent on surface level military and government. They don't need them. They have this already. They've done it. We have underground black sites, and they're not all connected to your typical DUMBs. This is different. This is its own infrastructure.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, they're self-sustaining.
yes.
They don't need to lean on any other units.
And they've shot down crafts from Sirius B and reverse engineered that tech and made it into triangular crafts. So this Black Operations Group has shot down Sirius B crafts. So I think what you were picking up on, the ancient ship with the symbols, like perhaps it's one of these crafts that they recovered or took or shot down and got and were studying. I think that's what you were picking up on. Because this is what
Hmm.
some of these crafts look like, what they've gotten from Sirius B, this Black Operations Group.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has ancient symbols and like you said, shooting down other beings that are refugees escaping from blown up planets or escaping something. These guys come
Hmm.
along, shoot them down, and take their stuff to study. So I think that's one of the crafts that was either shot down or recovered from Sirius B somehow. I was not asked to remote view in high depth that stuff, but you picked up on it. So that's right on target what the clay model was.
Very interesting target.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I taking from this? I've done a lot of other targets, esoteric or just strange, but what I take away from it too is it's really a rough place out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what's going on Earth, but on a space scale. That's what it feels like to me. I mean, like we're shooting these things down, but like I said, that those Sirius B guys were like running from their own problems, on their planet, and it's like there must be some serious wars going on out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's justified what they're doing at all. I think it's one of those situations where they're telling themselves, we need to do this to protect our whatever, our planetary body, but it's not that. It's beyond that.
Yeah, and from some of the information that's been told by insiders is that this Black Operations Group is aligned with extraterrestrials, working with not so good extraterrestrials as well.
Mhm.
So that,
Yeah.
and remember in the paper session, you got malevolent energy here. This is not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got that.
Oppression and oppressive. Yeah. There's because that's the first thing that comes to my mind is like, why would we, like, if they're benign, like, why are we so mean? What's going on? And to me, that would mean that probably we're not in control of the situation. I mean, it's probably, you know,
Yeah. And this stuff, what I got from remote viewing is that this Black Operations Group has access to technology that comes from Atlantis, goes back to Atlantis. So this is how they know about these pyramids, the generators, and how to apply that tech to their current basis and infrastructure underground. Like
mm,
I just pulled some of the most important information from previous remote viewings. I sort of put this as observations from previous RVs. It's a whole page of it, that they have these cloning centers near Antarctica and other places, underground black sites. It's like it. I don't think I need to read the whole thing. You pretty much you got elements of everything that they're doing. But they have cloning facilities, they have access to advanced technology that they've stolen from extraterrestrials or grabbed from crash sites. And this is what they do. They operate in a very, not in a very nice manner. And there's no oversight over them by the government or anybody else. There's nobody to stop them.
Their hands, because with this kind of posture, why would they, when the whole operation is based around shoot it down and reverse engineer it and get there first before any other country does or whatever. Why, to me, it makes all the sense in the world. Like, why they just going to keep collecting these things and making better weapons? Why, if they would have to stop doing that in essence, if disclosure would probably come out.
Yeah, you froze there for a minute, so I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I was just saying that it makes a lot of sense as far as why we're going to have to pull disclosure out of their hands, because it's so beneficial for them to be doing what they're doing. I mean, technology wise, they shoot them down, they take their stuff, get everything they can out of it, and use it as like a intelligence operation for defense purposes. There's no benefit for them with that mindset to reveal anything. And if we found out what they were doing, I don't think we'd be real happy about that.
Yes, and remember you asked me what's the purpose of these targets and tasking, and I said to help humanity to reveal what's going on in for the betterment of humanity, to disclose. That was my purpose with these targets.
Well, Courtney talks about this quite a bit in his channel, and I've never, and I was kind of on the fence. Like, I couldn't, it's hard to believe that, because he says exactly that. Like, we're shooting down what he refers to as the good guys, and like, I didn't sense it, to me the situation wasn't like we were shooting down like some galactic alliance, but we were shooting down innocent beings, like just trying to survive.
Yes.
And make escape, and take refuge. And so, yeah, it's a hard pill to swallow.
I mean, I've known about, because I took the SRV course. I signed up a year and a half ago for it, and the teacher likes these kinds of subjects to assign as targets. Like, how can we help humanity? How can we disclose what needs disclosure? And I was like, I want to do a project independent, outside the classwork, outside what the students and I have picked up, like knowing some of the elements from our RVs. Like, take this to a tasking and see if this can be verified independently outside of any of us.
Because the class did this very same target, or one of these targets?
Yeah, they did, and just kept coming up with weapons, lasers, beings being killed, kidnapped, organ harvesting, like all kinds of
Same
weird,
stuff.
all kinds of weird stuff. Yeah. And I was assigned the same target 4 different times without knowing. The teacher reassigned this to me and to the students various times. Of course, it's all double blind, so we know nothing. But the parameters kept coming back to all of this. So I'm like, okay, can I do a tasking project on this particular stuff and see what comes out independently from the class and me?
I will say too, Ileana, when I've had other targets where something, I guess what I'm saying is if there's a target that I can't verify or something, like sometimes it'll just not come together. Like, I'll tell the tasker, like, it's not, like, I feel like this is a BS target or something. Like, it's not coming together or whatever. As to where this, like, I was, okay, there's a lot of meat here. There's tons of meat here. I could just dig and dig and dig and dig. So I knew I was on to something right away. I'm like, oh gosh, I could just keep pulling on this thread. So it definitely felt like it's I felt like I was on target pretty much the whole time. That's what it feels like to me.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, we are really in the dark around here.
Well, I assigned in the tasking very specific things what I was looking for, and you got elements of reverse engineering crafts, hangar bays, crafts just hanging there, docking in the hangar bays and going into underground facilities. You got it. You had those elements. You had the moon because they have space stations and these crafts can go to the moon. This
Yeah,
Black
yeah,
Operations Group can leave Earth orbit in these crafts and deliver supplies to the space stations and to the moon facilities, to the Mars facilities. They have
yeah,
that capability, and I suspect they've done that. Like you're getting elements. What was at the back of my mind was always, what is this Black Operations doing? Give me the whole dirty laundry list. That was at the back of my mind, my
mhm,
curiosity. So I think you up beyond my tasking what I asked for, and you also gave me the dirty laundry list of what this Black Operations Group does to see that list, because that's what's been on my mind as a curiosity. And I've
yeah,
been trying to blank that out, that curiosity, to make sure it didn't bleed through to this tasking. But I think you picked up somebody wants to know what this group is doing from A to B, like from start to finish. So you grab more than I asked for, which is good.
yeah. I mean, if I do a good job, usually that's what happens. Usually, that's why I mean, I tell my tasker usually I tell them just start small and I'll build it out on my own. But another thing too that kind of freaks me out is the whole thing with Congress meeting in secret and stuff. I mean, I don't like that. Like, uh, that does not give me the warm and fuzzies. Like, what's going on?
And you picked up on a whistleblower that trying to debunk a whistleblower, but nobody can debunk this person. They're actually delivering the info. Do you know who that is?
David Grush, maybe? I don't know. No,
Michael Herrera.
Michael Herrera. I got to look him up.
Yeah, so because he's been talking about all of this, the psionics, the Black Operations Group, he calls them something different. He's been talking about this for a year and a half. And I'm like, I did remote viewing series, huge project, into Lockheed Martin and the reverse engineering of their tech. That's how, and I ran into this Black Operations Group in the cloning facilities when I was tasked to look at a satellite that picked up data on a craft that went around the world in 2018. What that craft was, and it was an experimental craft that the Black Operations Group has. That's how I stumbled into them last year, and the cloning stuff came up, the facilities and the underground stuff. So it's like kind of started from there. And when I took this SRV class, my teacher is obsessed with Michael Herrera and proving or disproving what he said about all of this. And I'm like, oh boy, what are you getting me into here?
I can't wait to look him up. Now, did he somehow get out of it? Was he involved in it, or did he stumble upon it, like digging through
Um,
files?
okay, so Michael Herrera was a Marine, and in 2009, I think, during the Sumatra earthquake in Indonesia, the USS Denver was parked off, right? And he was one of the officers on that ship. So he volunteered for a mission, aid relief to the Indonesians, right, to bring supplies. And his platoon saw this triangular craft with military black ops personnel loading containers with something inside. Michael thought it was drugs at first, but later it turned out that it was the psionics gifted people taken from Indonesia. loaded into these containers. Levitating platform picked up the containers, docked with this craft. The craft took off, and these Black Ops guys told the Marine platoon, "You don't talk about this. This doesn't exist." Da 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 da. And Michael held this in for a very long time until Stephen Greer's Disclosure Project last year had a conference, and Michael was one of the speakers. And through Stephen Greer, Michael was connected with one of the Black Ops guys, I guess, from this Black Operations group. They took Michael to this black site and told him these things, what Michael witnessed in 2009, and about this Black Operations group and these programs. So I had heard this, and I'm like, okay, yeah, okay, whatever. And I'm like, I stumbled onto this group when I was doing the remote viewing on the satellite from the 2018 footage. I'm like, these pilots, they're doing all this testing of this stuff. And then I felt threatened by them psychically. Like, if you reveal any of this, bad things are going to happen to you. And I'm like, you can't stop me from posting this stuff in my research book, in my remote viewing book. And I just added that in, and then my teacher's like, well, class, this is what I guess we were remote viewing this stuff again. So our teacher is quite curious to see, is this real or not, you know? And every one of us has to do a tasking project. We cannot take any money for this. This has to be free will choice work. Like you have to work with a experienced professional remote viewer. You have to do a tasking, double blind. Yeah, that's the project. And I'm like, that's the most difficult thing I've ever done. So this is basically it. So Michael Herrera has gone into this black site facility or facilities, and I'm like, okay, well, what's in these facilities? What's part of it? I knew some of it through the remote viewing from the core stuff, and I'm like, but is this legit? Is this verifiable? Is this true? Is this believable? I want verification of my own for this stuff. Can I even believe what I've remote viewed from the class stuff? Yeah, is this real? I think it is real, and this is it.
Yeah. Yeah, wild.
Mm-hmm. I mean, again, Michael Herrera has never said what's inside these black sites. The Black Operations Group let him know about the psionics, about them shooting down the craft, that there's a good element of this organization, and they want to stop all of this because there's a bad element of it. So they're kind of like
going back and forth. Yeah, I mean, because that's what really what kind of bothers me is, like, I get the sense like this is being sold to whatever governing bodies, that this is in the line of defense, when that's really not what this is at all. But what's funny to me is, I don't know if it was Greer or somebody, but you've heard this before, where they talk about the next big thing is there's going to be an ET threat, and we've got to, I'm sure you've heard this somewhere. And I'm like, oh yeah, BS. And then here we go. That seems to be the case. It's like somebody sold this to Congress, like, oh yeah, this is a dangerous situation. We gotta shoot these things down. We gotta do this. We gotta do that. These things want to take things over, whatever they're telling them to allow this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's we're literally shooting down refugees. We're shooting down benign beings, and just taking their shit.
Exactly. And that's what Michael Herrera has said all along, what's been told to him by this insider from this Black Operations Group. So it's like this data tasking, this doesn't just come from me, what I've remote viewed, it comes from a real live person as well. So
yeah.
I'm curious because I want to, as a remote viewer, and I've been doing remote viewing for 8 years, I'm like, is this true? Is this real? You know, like how far does this go? So I think you've pulled elements of how far it really goes, even beyond the remote viewings that I did. This is like you've pulled elements that I didn't really know how far that I didn't know it goes to Congress.
Yeah.
So
And I wouldn't, I mean, I didn't either. And I'm sure Congress meets in private about some things,
mhm,
but I think that they've met about this topic specifically. And my sense would be it has something to do with allowing them to shoot these things down, maybe. I don't know. It could be just to be keeping secret, but
mhm.
the big takeaway is they're shooting things down that's not provoking anything.
No, exactly. And Michael Herrera has not been able to talk about the exact specifics about what happens in these black sites.
Mm-hmm.
He can't really say because he'd be putting people in jeopardy in this black operations group, maybe exposing them or something. So nobody really knows the details of these facilities or anything because he's just said some things, but not how much further this goes. So this remote, like, what have we pulled from this remote viewing?
Well, you know, I'm sad for the beings, but also, to be honest with you, I'm sad for the military personnel because they don't want to be there either. Like, it, it's it's just hard to believe. It's just hard to believe that this could be happening, especially under the guise of the country I live in, which I feel that it probably is. Who else would it be? If it's not the United States. I mean, if it's not, you know, if it's not headed here, if there's any country of which it might be headed from, I don't know where else it would be. Um,
Well, and Stephen Greer has said that there's a worldwide conglomerate that pulls people in from different countries, that there's no oversight. They can cross country barriers, go pick up
mhm,
whoever they want for their operations. Greer has said this for like 4 years. So I think that's this black operations group that are doing this.
mhm,
I've had to sit with this for a year and a half. I
yeah,
don't talk about it much.
yeah,
I've put some of this in the book, and I had shared a link with you about my disclosure book about reverse engineering programs. This Black Operations group was part of that book a little
mhm,
bit.
yeah,
Um, so, and I didn't tell you what was in the book.
yeah,
So, yeah, because again, the project had to be double blind tasking. Can't tell him anything about anything.
yeah, yeah. And it makes you wonder, um, because like even when I've done like Hellier, like I did Hellier, and I felt like humans were being trafficked down in these caves, and I couldn't make sense of what's going on. But and that's a whole different thing. But any way you slice it, it seems that humans are being trafficked. I mean, it's one aspect of it,
Mhm.
against their will, obviously.
But not for sex labor or anything, traffic for their abilities and what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, they're living in confinement. I mean, whatever you want
Yes.
to call it, they're
Yeah.
living as slaves or whatever.
Yes.
So that's horrible. Then you've got these other benign creatures that seem like they're not doing any harm. They're being, you know, uh, what it was like when you're being, like when you put them in chains or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I wonder too when they capture those beings if they're leveraged for something. You know what I mean? Like in exchange. Oh, you want these guys back? Well, and it makes me wonder like what is the literal protocol? Like is there literally like a no-go zone in this in the space around Earth, and if you do go in the space around Earth, it's a free for all, like literally you're fair game? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But thanks for the target, though. It was really interesting.
Yeah, well, I think you got the targets. You got it. What was it surprising to you what the targets were?
Yeah, I mean, I've been away from it for a while, and I kind of you forget how much stuff you pulled out of it and stuff, and um, it reminded me of like all of AOLs. I know they're close, but it's not quite that. I had a sense of it reminded me of like a Space Force thing. It reminded me of like a Tony Rodriguez or Randy. Like I had that vibe. That vibe. It's something kind of like this. Um, So it doesn't surprise me once you showed. I couldn't figure out what the pyramid aspect. And now that I see the feedback, it makes sense. Because I had this pyramid technology. Because you're a remote viewer, you're getting pieces of
Mm-hmm.
information, and I'm getting like pyramid technology. But at the same time, I know this is happening like now times because I'm getting Congress in meeting, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
getting other indications that would tell me that this is a modern day situation. Um, but it doesn't surprise me what the target is. It's I guess to be honest with you, it's more shocking that it's Earth to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's more shocking. This would be like I could almost imagine it more happening on Mars or the Moon than Earth, and it's kind of shocking.
So parts of it is happening out there, and I think this group is
Yeah,
connected
yeah.
to
I think
that.
Mars and I think the Moon are kind of like a. It's almost like it's in the right in the neighborhood. It's like a little. They're doing. They've got they've got places on those three bodies for sure.
Yeah.
Um, but because I knew the moon and but when I had all this underground aspect and all these, because again, it reminded me of the situation that Tony talks about with the insectoids on the moon or the Mars or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, this can't be here. This can't be happening here. Um, now I'm not so sure. Now it's almost like that's literally what's happening. They're taking them down, they're throwing them in cells and keeping everything that they have.
They're throwing them in cloning centers as well, taking their biologics and molecular stuff and imprinting that on human soldiers as augmented soldiers because you were picking up enhanced soldiers. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
that's about.
Yeah.
That's been remote viewed as well before.
Yeah. And to be honest, and even when I saw that image, it's like you get this. It's hard to explain to people that don't use their psychic faculties all the time. But you see that image and you're like, this is like because you get a glimpse of what like you could be if somebody went in there and started tinkering around with your DNA and it was almost scary. It was like this guy's like a badass, but a little scary. You know what I mean? Like I can't believe you could engineer a human to that degree, type of thing.
Apparently you
Um,
can. You were getting bodies in containers
yeah,
because this
yeah,
Black Operations Group has transported bodies in containers, live people.
yeah,
So it's and stasis pods can keep them in stasis. They have that tech.
yeah.
They can clone people, they can clone organs. You were getting exchange, like you got the spiritual leader and the high priestess being held in vacuum chamber or in stasis like device. The spiritual leader had a pyramid on his head.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting. I'm like, okay, who are those people and how are they associated to this Black Operations Group? This I still
Mm-hmm.
don't know because that was like, okay, that's very different. What is this?
Well, is there any? Do you know of anything going on in Sirius B? Have you heard of anything? I don't know of anything.
What I've picked up from previous remote viewing is that this Black Operations Group has shot down Sirius B crafts with beams.
Oh, okay, okay, good. So that's exactly what I got. Okay, good.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
clay modeled the ship exactly what it looks like. It's not your typical
So,
pyramid, it's more of that like
So Sirius B, they may be having something. There may be something happening out there where they're trying to get out.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
and they're just ripe for the picking, apparently, for us down here.
apparently. Yeah.
Oh
Um,
man.
so this thing is huge. It goes beyond Earth even. This is why I'm like, what do you want to do with this target info? Do you want to like, now comes the our responsibility. Do we put this out there? Do we what do you want to do with this?
Well, I mean, I think we should definitely put it out there. I could do. I mean, I could do it a bunch of different ways. And I could put. I mean, if I put my I wouldn't mind putting my whiteboard sessions up. If I put my whiteboard sessions up, I would pretty much just do the 2 sessions, which is the primary tasking of each, probably. Um, and if you could send me your tasking sheet
Hmm.
that you just that you presented, so I could write that in the description. That's what I would probably do, and maybe and maybe this, unless you wanted to do this video on your channel, and then whatever you want to do with the information, you're welcome to do whatever you want with it.
Well, the teacher pretty much said this has to be raw, honest, double blind. So we already filmed part one, the paper sessions. That was part one. This is part two. Like it's raw. This
Mhm.
is like the teacher is allowing me to put this up for you and me to put it up on our channels, both if you want, or you can put it up in whichever manner you want.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm fine with that, and I'll send you the tasking paper so that
Hmm.
you can like this completes the project. And we were talking about maybe a book, and I
Hmm.
don't know how to, I don't even know if this is appropriate to put in a book or not, these
Yeah.
findings. So this
Yeah.
is why I'm like, uh, I have to
Yeah.
talk to you about this.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, you mean like as far as like the danger of it? You mean?
I
Yeah,
know
or what?
just
Or just the
well, now,
disturbing aspect of it?
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
all of the above, because that's in your paper sessions, and that's the whiteboard that I pulled to make it into
Mm.
more like a paper session, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to go
Uh,
over, because again, this was all double blind. You didn't know what the
right.
tasking was. Um, so I don't know about like would it be appropriate to even put that in a book because we were talking about this stuff seems very important. It's like so
Hmm.
I don't know like what's your conception of this?
Well, I mean, I'm just happy to to have the just to get a little bit. I mean, you got a lot of viewers on your channel. You got a lot of subscriptions. Just presenting some of this to them will shine a little bit of a light on me, which I'm happy with. That's great. And outside of that, you can do whatever you want with the data. I mean, you're welcome to. You have my permission to do whatever you want with it.
Again, my purpose is to disclose to humanity what's going on. That's always been my purpose with any of this.
Yeah, yeah.
So I want to put part one and two out on my channel, and
Hmm.
you can put it out however you want, and I'll send part two to you as well.
Okay.
This is, again, no money was taken for any of this work. It was part of a course that I paid for by myself for the SRV
Sure,
advanced
sure.
course. And this was
Hmm.
like the project, a 2 month
Hmm.
project.
Yeah, it was a
And
fun project. Thanks for pulling me into it. Maybe one of these days I could you could return the favor and do something for me, do target for
per,
me.
perhaps I can, yeah. And I'd be like you did for me the greatest favor because this is disclosing for people what nobody is disclosing this far. So this
Mhm.
has been honestly all along what my like if somebody asks me, do I have a motive for why I
Mhm.
assigned you this tasking, is just to know the truth.
Mhm. Yeah.
What is this? What's going on? What are we not being told here? That's just
Mhm.
and I'm for me the curiosity, who's the high priestess, who's the spiritual leader, and how are they part of this organization, and why were they brought in? That's what
Mhm. Yeah,
keeps looping in my mind for wanting more answers to that.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't know, honestly, what data came out about that was like normal people are being brought in for mediation, or maybe they're not so normal. Maybe they have some kind of a standing to figure things out in this group, or I don't know, put things to rights.
You know, things are nothing would surprise me anymore. When I remember I was watching John Lear and he was telling Emery Smith, he goes, Emery, every single human being is being abducted, you know. And I would have never bought into that, but now I would believe just about anything. I've seen so much crazy shit within my own remote viewing stuff. I don't want to believe myself. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to write this shit down because I just don't want to. That's how I know it's real because I'm resistant to write it down. You know, like, oh, it's just psychic because I don't like it.
And honestly, I have never spoken to Michael Herrera. I have no contact with him. I cannot ask him about any of this. So, you know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm
these
gonna
are
look
just,
him up.
yeah, these are just some of the, I guess my teacher used some of the elements for this tasking for what we as the students did, previous elements in our remote viewing. And he's like, look deeper into what's going on, create your own tasking of what's
Mhm.
important to you. I'm like, I want to do a tasking on this, but I want specific angles. So,
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's my project for what I'm tasking. But even I wanted more answers beyond my remote viewing and what the students did. Because again,
yeah,
remote viewing is about taking it outside the element of what's already been done using some of the info to put in a tasking and to see what can be verifiable here outside the class, outside of me. And
mhm.
when you ask me have this stuff been remote viewed before, I'm like, I cannot say yay or nay. I cannot say because it can't reveal
Yeah.
anything.
I think I said it felt like it has. Didn't I say that or no? I don't know if
Yeah,
I
you
did or
said
not.
like it has been remote viewed, and I said, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right, Ileana. Well, yeah, you know what? I'll be looking for it for when you put it out now, and I'll share it and stuff like that. And like I said, I appreciate it too because it'll maybe I'll catch a subscriber or two from your channel, catch some of your wake, your wave. You got
Sure.
20,000 some subscribers on your channel, some
Yeah.
crazy number.
Oh no, it's like for me this work is humbling. It's not about how many subs I have. It's about just honest disclosure. That's what I've been doing on my channel since 10
Yeah, yeah.
years ago. It's
I've got
for
a
people.
similar mission, but mine's more just trying to wake people up to the fact that they're psychic. You know what I mean? And remote viewing is just the opening of that door.
Well,
To,
Black Operations Group has taken psychics and used them as psionics in operations. That's the hardest thing people try to wrap their mind around what Michael Herrera disclosed on that people are being used in military operations like
Mhm.
this. And I didn't task you for that to find
Yeah, yeah,
anything on the psionics, but you found elements of containers and
yeah,
bodies and human soldiers being augmented and behavior modified and changed, feelings,
yeah,
emotions. And that's related to the operatives who work in this group
yeah,
because they're not free, they're chipped, they're
yeah,
microchipped.
yeah,
So there's so much elements in this, probably even more, but we're just shedding light on what's really going on
yeah.
as part of
Well, thanks
this.
again. I appreciate it. Yeah, it was a good
Mhm.
time. We'll do something again in the future. If you want to do something, you let me know.
I am curious about two other targets, but maybe down the road.
Sure. Yeah, yeah. Sounds good, Eliana. Thanks.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure, and thank you for being so patient with me because my teacher's like, you need a little more here, a little more info. Ask him again, and I,
No, it was great. It was great. Just do me a favor, send me the task. I'm just reminding you, and
I will.
I'll post. I'll do some whiteboards, and I'll keep an eye out for your posts and stuff, and I'll share it.
Yeah, I'll put part one and then part two out, and it's like, thank you so much. You've really shed some light on disclosure and truth.
Yep, no problem. Talk soon, Ileana.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.